See if this all works. Okay. Okay. Let's see if I can hear myself. Testing, testing while no one's here. I have a bit of a sore throat here, as always. Hello, hello. I'm just chilling out here in hell, apparently. No one mind me. Just came here to say hello to all the new subscribers that are here. Maybe play some Gartic Phone. Just chill out. I know there's a few people who subscribed to my channel recently, so chat is open. You're free to chat. I might switch to a game, maybe play some Gartic Phone as we go along. I might invite some people to the live stream to chat with me. Any topic really, nothing crucial. So yeah, feel free to put it in the chat. I might have 0 viewers, who knows? But I will be chilling. I'm also chilling in the Discord as well, answering questions, and doing stuff. I hope you can hear the music as well. I think you can. Let's see. Nice little chill stream. Yeah, you should be hearing it okay. Let's try again. Oh yeah, that's the right sound, I think. That sounds good to me. I don't know if you can hear the streams. I always like to echo. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Oh, wait a minute. You don't have to hear it now. Put some music back on. Some sci-fi music. You know, when you're talking about hell, you want to listen to some Wi-Fi, some sci-fi music. See, I can see the messages now. Oh, I'm unlisted. That's what the problem is. That's why no one's joining me. Would help. Would help if I'm public. There we go. Hope that yeah, okay. Well, we learn something new every day about streaming. How's that? That's fun. But yeah, I'm always here to chat. I'm just gonna hang around here on my own, talking to myself as I usually do. Just these spears are pointing at me, but that's okay. I'm used to that. That's a pretty regular thing. They can't approach me, and I won't approach them. So I think we're in a stalemate right now. Perfect time to answer some Q&As, some question answers, some give free writing advice. Talk about topics that I want to talk, or if you want to hear, you're free to do so. The chat is open. I am reading the chat as we speak right now. I'm also going to be reading some of the comments that people left for the video in case there are some questions or any other advice that I could give to young aspiring writers that are there. Now, what credentials do I have as a writing expert? Well, I mean, you watched the video probably, so you probably know that I know what I'm talking about. I think I do anyway. I have written a thing or two, I just don't always share them. All right. It's one of those things where you write and you know it's not great yet, but you constantly keep improving and challenge yourself to do more. I went through the same mistakes a lot of young writers do anyway, so we're just gonna chill. I got, again, very surprising, I got 21k views. I always enjoy when you get the views. Makes it more for a while, and when you see the positive comments saying that, yeah, this video was useful, I learned something about writing that I didn't do before. I'm always happy to see that. Always happy to sort of help people out with the writing if I can, because honestly I'm doing it for myself rather than other people. Only because I want to see some good writing in the industry. Something I've kind of missed out now for a long time now. At least since 2015. That's the deadline that I put on for this kind of question. Is like, when did When did writing became garbage? And I think 2015 was the one. Any advice for procrastination? I'm gonna reduce the audio now a little bit so I can hear myself. There we go. Best advice for procrastination is not to... God, what normally is analysis paralysis number one that happens when you're writing is you start thinking too much about the story you're telling, and then by the time you're like, oh, you know, you wrote like 10 pages, you write 10 pages, and then you're already thinking about season 2, or you're thinking about the second book, or you're thinking about like, oh, what's gonna be the new version of this? What is that gonna be like? And you're like, no, cool your jets. Focus on writing the first story, minimize it to like the bare essential minimum that you can do. Just like keep it very simple. Do a basic story about an adventure, who knows, and just see where it takes you. Because what happens is, I do this as well when I was writing my TTRPG, and I'm still doing it right now, is that I get an exciting concept, I get all hyped up for it, and then as I start doing the cool stuff, like the cool stuff is done, the planning is all done, and now I have to do all the boring stuff of like balancing and filling in information and then understanding how the reader is gonna do, and I'm like, oh, it's turning into a job now, and I hate that. You get the excitement whenever you start something new. It's exciting, and then it sort of dies down. So you have to persevere. You have to just be like, no, we have to do this. And not normally it has to do with scale. That's normally what happens. Is your thoughts are moving faster than your abilities of writing. So you can think of a lot of ideas. You can think of a lot of cool things. You're like, I can't wait to add that and add that and add this. And there's like, God, why am I writing so slow? I want to get to the good stuff. I don't want this character building, but no, the fun stuff should be the character building. It should be the plot writing. Okay, Keigo is asking, how do you stop yourself from jumping from project to project, never finishing anything? Good question. I haven't learned that yet. Honestly, what I'm hoping for, and that's normally what happens to me, is if I can see that people like the stuff I'm doing, that's not a motivation for me. That's like, okay, maybe I don't want to make a 40-minute video about a certain topic or something like that, but like my fans want to see it, so I'm gonna do it. That's normally the motivator for me. It's like I wanna sort of help other people, or like entertain them at some way, and that's normally the driving force for me. But the other ways for motivation is just minimizing the task that you want to do. Just do small achievements, chapter per week, 1 chapter a week, and just get into that habit of writing. Like that's the, what's his name, the Shining guy. I don't remember names. I'm terrible with names. I can remember fictional character's name, but not a real one. He does like puts himself in a log cabin and forces himself to write. Stephen King. Why do I forget Stephen King out of all the people? Out of all the people I could forget, Stephen King. Yeah, Stephen King is just a massive printing machine of stories. He knows the formula. Once you pick up the formula, it becomes easy. Unlike J.R.R. Martin, who is always struggling. And I know both sides. I know the printing machine element of it, but I also know the J.R.R. Martin element of it as well, which is like, if I write this sentence, is this gonna work? And I was like, no, just write it. Don't worry about it. Just write. Your first draft is your first draft. You can actually write it in the way that the Has Been Hotel people wrote. You can be like, yes, the character says in the dialogue, I am sad, I am lonely, I'm depressed. You can do that in draft 1, because that means like you can just tick off that box. Like at this point, we want to reveal this information. And then when you start redrafting, then you can start thinking of creative ways of translating that information. Misery. Sorry. Yeah, it's a fascinating thing, writing. I think it's the easiest thing to do in terms of like starting it, and then when you get into writing the story and you're only thinking about the story, that's where you start getting into like dipping your toes in creativity. You're like writing things as is, you know. But then as you get better, you then start to think how you're writing it. What words are you using? What phrases? Is that enough information? Is that not enough information? It just constantly keeps you constantly ponder these things. For me, as a more of a from a visual storytelling guy, so for me, writing things, I'm like, I want to see the visual of it. It's very hard for me to describe it in letters. Sure, I'll tell you. Yeah. The name of the book, Misery. Yeah, Stephen King wrote Misery. He wrote a bunch of books. I'm not much of a book guy, to be honest. I am very much a film guy. I studied film. I did a little bit of animation. I did game design a little bit, but that's some more personal projects. But mainly, I'm just a visual storytelling guy. So for me, like any idea that I'm like thinking of how, if I didn't have a voice, what would if I didn't have a voice, like how would my characters tell that information, convey that information? It's actually one of the concepts of the thing I'm writing on right now. Is as a character who is mute and he has to communicate. You know, and it's like, how would he display certain kind of information? That's a challenge, because we're so used to just characters explaining things that are way too obvious. It doesn't challenge the viewer or the reader at all. Let's see, what are the questions here? So I don't ramble too much, I can read. What do you recommend for people trying to build a history or world for their story that not only makes sense, but only make it packed? Hopefully it made sense. Yes. Hello, Salty Shark. How did it make you feel? So to answer K-Star's question, the best advice I have in terms of world building is to see the world as a character. I know that sounds pretentious as hell, but that's how I see it. That's what I was upset about Dune to some extent. They tried to do that in the Dune books, especially. The Dunes themselves are a character. It's like it has its own personality, and you start to learn about that world. So like if it's it all depends on like what kind of world you're building. If you're building a depressive place, like imagine that world as a character. How would it be? Dark Souls is a very depressed, retired king kind of thing. It's like you see the glory that it used to be, but now it's all withering away, and like the zombies there, the hollows there are just lost faith, and everything around that world is designed around that. Everything is miserable. And in that misery, try to find like redemption. And that's, in a sense, Dark Souls is a better has-been hotel, because that's literally what the plot is. You have to go through an extremely difficult journey in order to achieve some sort of catharsis, some sort of freedom from the hollow life, I guess. Hello, Salty Shark. I said, I'm just chilling out now, doing Q&As on writing, discussing all the kind of stuff that I learned from my experience of writing. And you know what it is? The number one thing that I always advise people, because I've done this mistake, and I wish someone told me when I was writing this, is when you're writing, look a little bit beyond yourself and what you like. That helps you a ton. Oh, thank you, Keigo. I appreciate it. A little super chat. But yes, going back to the topic is think about beyond yourself, beyond what you like, because there's things that I enjoy. Like I enjoy Devil May Cry, and I really wanted to like write sort of a cool, jokester character who's like super cool with weapons and all that. It's just like that's my teenager phase when I had that. I was like, yeah, it's super cool. But I'm like, why am I writing this? What? Am I only writing this because I think it's cool, or am I actually telling a story? What does the character mean? Why is he strong? What is his weakness? Is he trying to be strong because he's afraid of something? There's always a motivating factor. Oh, hello, Salty. Ooh, Salty Shark gave me a donation. Thank you. I'll answer those questions. Let's see, Salty. With how you talk about camera motion, building character, do you think photography of comic art could utilize cinema language effectively? It does. It actually does use visual storytelling very effectively. So the thing remember about visual storytelling is that it's not about one picture. A one picture normally doesn't tell a story. You can interpret it as what you think those characters do, but in visual storytelling, the relationship between two shots is the story. So you have to have more than one picture. One picture can sort of, it can give you like a moment in time, but it doesn't tell you the story. You need to have like a close-up, a wide shot, or even like a longer shot just to take in the timing it takes. Everything, that motion between from one shot to the other one is the one that gives you the visual storytelling. So in comic books, you see the same sort of principles. What they have the benefit of doing is changing the aspect ratio mid story, because what's in the frame outside the frame could be manipulated in very interesting ways. It's very difficult to express motion in a comic book. Mangas are very good at actually utilizing the idea of motion in a still frame. Like that's why they have the anime lines. It's a cliche, but it does work to give the sense of motion. Funny enough, that's actually one of the Renaissance techniques. This is when I was in Rome and I was watching and learning about Renaissance paintings. It's the way they move the shoulders, the way they draw the shoulders in a very like opposite way. So the legs are always pointing away from the shoulders, and that gives you a sense of motion. I never thought about it that way. I'm like, wow, they did think about that. Let's see. Let's go back to the questions. Maybe a bit of a weird question, but how would you explain something grand or spectacular in some sense in words? Are there some things that can only be expressed in images? Interesting question. Grand and spectacular. Now, I would need to know the full definition of what that means. Normally, the way the character speaks. So, like, again, easy example would be Game of Thrones. It's like you know who's powerful based on how they speak. How Tywin Lannister speaks, how Tyrion Lannister speaks, how Joffrey speaks. They all speak in very different ways. And that gives you an indication of what the character is all about. If your character is extremely smart, they will be very careful with how they speak. If your character is very emotional, well, that's Joffrey. He says it as it is. He doesn't care what other people think. Easy, they never speak the same way. No character should really speak exactly the same way, which again is one of the problems in Has Been Hotel. With the swearing, it just makes everyone sound very similar. Okay. Let's see, makes sense. I didn't think of. How would you try to describe a person or place through words if you're doing things through written text rather than visuals? It's interesting. It's an interesting question. How much do you want to describe a person in a book, let's say? Because that's, for me, is a very difficult question. And when I'm writing, is like, I don't want to reveal everything about my character, how they look. I want to give information, the relevant information. Because one of the books I'm writing is from a sort of first-person perspective. And I'm like, how do you make a first-person character, like POV character, talk about himself, like how he looks like, how he dresses? Well, that has to include the scenes if it's important. Sometimes it might not be important. It might just be a POV character exploring the world, and you have to, as a viewer, have to imagine what that character looks like. Normally, it's like it's very interesting because you don't think about these things where you're like, a character goes to a mirror. I see myself looking at my scraggly beard, my wavy hair, or whatever. Okay, it's a first-person perspective, but he's still acknowledging himself as a character. Like, he has a beard, he's putting on his red jacket, but it's not. It's annoying because you're like, want to tell you everything to the audience members, like, oh, I need to tell my reader how this character looks like. So I guess I'll just give you a little brief info. Anime light novels do that. They just give you a character sheet. I'm like, great, thanks. It helps speed things up, but it is sort of a lazy way of doing it. Let's see. Who is there? I've written stuff out, but it's clunky and may confuse the reader. Yep, it will be clunky and it will confuse the reader. It's inevitable, and then you redraft it, and then you redraft it again and again and again until you get something completely different from what you were intending to write, and then you'll be like, is this really what I want to write? Well, It is better than my previous version, but it's not what I imagined, and that's a really hard thing to do for a creator. It's to give up on some of those ideas that you had for something much better. Let's see. Fair enough for a bit of extra context. I mean, like a grand view, going over a hill, seeing some grand empire, something like that, without explaining. Okay. Yeah. Lovecraft. Lovecraft is a genius of that. I love him. I love his writing. The phrase unimaginable shape always made me ponder, because everything we see in the world is consisting of shapes that we are familiar with, squares, circles, and then he goes like unnatural shape. I'm like, how do I visualize this? Because if it's just squiggly lines, they still make a shape. So how would you imagine? And that was enough for me to already have a sense of like dread. I'm like, okay, this is an unfamiliar world. I can't even fathom what this world is going to be like. And I'm like, that's fascinating. I didn't think about that. Let's see. So going back to the awe thing, yes, you will find words that best describe what you're seeing, but sometimes the way character reacts to the thing they're seeing is sometimes more important. You know, if you watch, or read Planet of the Apes, you know, the guy dropping to his knees in front of the spoiler alert, I guess, for Planet of the Apes, when he sees the Statue of Liberty, you know, and he collapses to his knees and like smacks the ground. You can sense that it's a very impactful image from his behavior, of how he reacts, because we empathize with the main character. We've been with him for long enough that if he's sad, we're sad. If he's in shock, we're in shock. So it doesn't really, you know, how he reacts to that thing that he sees is the more important thing rather than the thing itself. Let's see. Who else is there? Who else? Well, hello, everyone. Hopefully you're enjoying this little conversation chat. Because I think they're causing low media analysis. Do you watch Critical Drinker and Geeks and Gamers? I watched the Critical Drinker. I made that video for him because I enjoyed Open Bar, and I watch them more for the personality, not necessarily their media analysis. I mean, they're okay. They're far better than a lot of the film student analysts, as I call them. But for Critical Drinker, he made one fatal mistake in my mind. He said that Bullet Train is a good film, an enjoyable film. It is not. It is trash. It is probably the worst film that I've ever seen for a long time. And it has become like the film that I like always mention as like the worst in terms of visual storytelling, in terms of pacing. Okay, it's fun. It's trying to be Pulp Fiction, basically. But it's not. It doesn't have any of the charm or the cinematic genius. It's just a bunch of actors having fun on set and be like, let's make a quirky action film. But the visual storytelling is giving you opposite information to what the characters are doing. You could re-edit this entire Bullet Train film. You can put the scenes in any order. It doesn't really make a difference because nothing makes sense and nothing connects. It's Sonic the Hedgehog 2 has a better visual storytelling than Bullet Train, and that's, you know, either that's high praise for Sonic or very terrible criticism for Bullet Train. Let's see. Let's have a look. What else is there? Salty Shark. Hello, media analysis. Fair enough. Thanks. I wanted to write my own original story, but ended up fixating on themes that were just based on Husband Hotel. Base premise. Now I'm stuck with idea of writing a story between heaven and hell. Recency bias is a thing, by the way. When Prince of Persia came out, I wanted to write basically a book about the Prince of Persia, just like my interpretation of it. That's because, well, you watched it, it's in your head, and you instantly start thinking about cool ideas for it. Funny enough, one of the stories I had when I was writing it, and I still have sort of several chapters of it and everything, was actually, if you know Aaron Hunter's Warrior Cats, those were a massive inspiration for me when I was reading them. I was like, wow, this is. I realized that it's Harry Potter with cats, but I still enjoyed it greatly, and I did like a bunch of like roleplay forums there, and that really just gave a lot of inspiration for the thing I was writing. But it was always about cats. It was actually a sci-fi book on essentially an abandoned town, and a stray cat like walked into like a sort of research facility, and the AI that was in charge of the whole city just took the cat and like used it as a base for basically building a bunch of robot cats to repopulate the city. I know it's a crazy concept, but it's still, some of those themes still exist in like reinterpretations, because I get rid of the cat part of it only because I'm like, I don't want to limit myself to cats. They don't add anything to what I wanted to express in that idea. For me, I like the idea of an AI controlling the populace in that sense. Like, they're so reliant on it that they don't have free will, and that's a much more interesting idea for me. It doesn't have to be the cats. It could be anything, and you have to find the characters that fit it the best. Warrior Cats was my Harry Potter. It's literally, if you look at beat for beat, it's literally Harry Potter. It's so funny when I realized that, because he becomes the chosen one. Regular cat goes into the magical world of stray wildcats, goes to essentially a school because he's being taught there. There's a Snape character who's basically the villain, but no one believes that he's the villain. I won't spoil too much in case you do read Aaron Hunter's Warrior Cats. It's still a great book, but yeah, it's basically all the beats are there, which is not bad. You know, sometimes it's good to have those beats. They're very useful. I wish a lot more creators started using the classic tropes. I kind of miss them now. Let's see, who hasn't? So for Akira, you stopped watching Critical Drinker. Fair enough. I stopped watching a few of those critics, but it's mainly because they say a lot of repetitive stuff. You know, I think Clownfish TV, I think, was one of them, if that's their name, if I remember correctly. But Clownfish TV, they just made 10-minute videos and they repeat the same thing like 5 times. And then they're like, okay, now make sure to subscribe and, you know, like our videos. I'm like, yeah, I can just watch the first 1 minute and get everything I need to know about it. But yeah, I stopped watching that. I thought I might do watch something more educational, I guess, or something more entertaining. Same with Drinker as well. If I could give a criticism to the Critical Drinker, is that I think sometimes he just repeats the same points. It's like, yes, the message is there. Yes, Marvel movies are bad. But there's more to do it. You can discuss a lot more in greater detail about it. But he doesn't have time. He's happy with making the videos he wants to make, and all for it. I'm looking forward to seeing his film. I'm not too excited about the trailer. When I saw the trailer, I was like, yikes. Oh, that's going to be a tough one. If you end up doing the same mistakes that you criticize the media, mainstream movies from doing, then what does that say about you? Let's see, what else do we have in the chat? I like how active the chat is today. I need to put it on the screen, but I kind of like this one as well. Just all the spears pointing at me. That's how I feel often. Let's see. Critical Drinker, yep, true enough. Warrior Cats is my Harry Potter. Salty Shark. I think a good metric for you for your world would be building it as if you can't move your plot outside of that premise. Yeah, that's a good idea. It will be free at the very... So the world itself is... If I had to prioritize, I think the characters are more important. What the characters mean in that story. What do you want them to represent? Then the world that comes around as well. Like, I'm sort of now narrowing it down basically to sci-fi writing. Sci-fi cyberpunk. Maybe I might do a fantasy story at some point, but honestly, everything I was thinking about in terms of like what themes I want to discuss, they're all basically in cyberpunk or sci-fi. So that's why I guess that's why the origin of this character is a very much a sci-fi based character. So that's it. That's neat. But yeah, you pick the one you want. Fantasy, they all have the same things. Like fantasy or sci-fi, it doesn't really matter. You can tell the same story in both worlds. It's up to you how you want to interpret the magic. Like magic normally is representative of a character's sort of internal struggles. As I said in one of the videos about visual storytelling, in Spider-Man 2, when Spider-Man loses his powers, it's indicative of his emotional state. The power is a representation of his emotion at that time. If he can't use it, it's and I mentioned that in the movie. It's like erectile dysfunction kind of thing. I mentioned this in the Ecchi video. It's like he's been down in his dumps. He's not performing as well as the Spider-Man, as the hero, as the ultimate sort of peak male that he wants to be, and you can see that affecting his life. You can see him losing hope. And I was like, oh, that's fascinating. You know, the power is cool to have. That's the cool thing. But what does it mean? What does it mean to have that power? And that's where the real fun begins, when you start creating. It's like, my character can turn invisible. Great. Why is he turning invisible? Is that is he afraid of being seen by others? Is he choosing to do it for heroics, and why does he want to be a hero then? Is it that not an interesting juxtapositions to have a character who wants the attention of or praise of other people, but his special ability is not being seen? That's already an interesting concept for me. I'm like, I'll do it. I'll take it. What else do we have here? Gonna start my emo depressed stories to practice. Yeah, everyone goes through that phase. Everyone goes through the emo phase. I enjoy those because it's unfiltered. It's your character. It's not necessarily you developing your character. It's more you developing yourself, because now you're unlocking emotions that you're not. If you're young, especially, you're unlocking emotions that you have not yet contemplated, and writing it is a great way of sort of exploring those emotions in a very sort of interesting way. That's why I'm 14 and This Is Deep exists. If you know that subreddit, it's always fun to watch and listen. It's like, yes, I know what hardship and heartache feels like. I now understand it. I'm like, great, and then as you get older, you mature, and then you understand it better, or you don't, and you just stay a kid forever. Like me. Yeah. I refuse to be cringe. No, Salty, you will be cringe. I don't know, maybe you were cringe already. Now, what else do we have here? So, if I miss answering the question, make sure to ask again, so I could. I'm not always the greatest at paying attention when it comes to chat. Okay, let's see. Akira, I might get jumped from this, but I think subverting tropes can sometimes be a good thing. Yep. It's all how you execute things. For example, if you're doing a fantasy story and instead of an old beard wizard as a mentor, it can be a late 20s, sometimes doesn't know. Ooh, that doesn't know what they're doing. Double points if they don't even look like the standard wizard. Doctor Who's an example of that. He started off as an old man in the original Doctor, as the wise old man, and then he became a childish sort of cartoony character. But his intelligence is still there. He's still smart, and he still has his emotional problems, but he's still acting more like a man-child a little bit. And then you have to wonder whether that's just him reverting into his like more childish phase. He doesn't want to live in a sort of misery that he, the tragic backstory of the Doctor. Maybe he doesn't want to be a grumpy old man. Maybe he does, but even even if him acting out that role can still be indicative of the suffering he might have internally. Of course, the current writers are not thinking that deep. Don't worry. I'm actually doing the thinking for them. Let's see. So I go back to subverting expectations. I don't like it. I don't like subverting expectations without reason, or just be like, Yeah, we have too many of old wizards. Let's do something else. Like sometimes old wizard may be enough, or I can recontextualize it in a different way. Old wizard or old man is normally like he's experienced enough. That's why he's mentoring you. A young guy experiencing you is not experienced enough to be the mentor in a sense, or it's hard to believe that that's how it's going to be. It's difficult. Narcissus and Goldenmund, I think that's the book that I remember reading. That was very interesting because there's two characters, and they're both monks, but one of the monks stays in and learns like the scriptures and learns like from books, and then the other one just goes out and like lives a life. And he falls in love, he gets heartbroken, he gets a job, he's experiencing life fully. And when they do come back in many years' time, they reflect on it and be like, well, despite me spending years and years reading books, I still feel like you have more wisdom than I do. And that's an interesting concept, is like, how much does your experience turn you into a mentor? And what kind of experience are you having? Is it just being book smart? Is that enough for you to be smart? Or do you need the life experience? That's interesting questions to ask. What else are we looking for? No, I refuse to be cringe. You are cringe. That reminds me, ignorance of my part, but what does it mean to subvert tropes or expectations? It just means not doing what everyone else is doing. That's the simple way of explaining it. It's like, we're gonna save the princess. But what if the princess saves herself? Ooh, that's an interesting idea. And if that's the extent of it, then you're not gonna have a good time. You need to figure out why you're doing it. So Shrek is perfect subversion. It's simple because for Shrek, the fairy tale characters are the tropes. So the idea for them is like, yeah, they're all already set to be who's the villain, who's the good guy, and that's the standard formula that stories had. And then Shrek came in and is like, okay, let's see if those tropes are actually harming the characters. Is it good to have an ogre to be a hero? And what can we do with that concept? How would he be different from Prince Charming? And then we kind of break down, we deconstruct what it means to be a hero. It's like, do you need to be charming? Or do you not need to be charming to be a hero? Well, what a hero saves the princess, or is that enough? What if the princess saves herself? Then you don't need a hero. And what does that mean for the hero? What is his role now if she can do it herself? Do we need a hero? In some sense, does the princess really want to save herself? Or maybe she's waiting for the right man to come in and show their power by defeating whatever dragon. Maybe that's her power. Interpret it in different ways you want. What else do we have? Okay, I like the trope where a character turns back into a child but doesn't want to grow up again because they feel happier. Isekai, anime Isekai is very good at that. It's like, you were a boring middle class salary man, but now you got reborn into a fantasy world where you have superpowers and everyone likes you. I'm like, that's pure escapism. That's the lowest form of escapism. Like, yes. That to me tells more about the culture than it does about the character. It's like, who made this? Why is this anime made? Well, it's made for, salary men to have a little bit of escapism. To like think what their life would have been if they pursued the dream that society didn't let them. And I'm like, ooh, that's, again, another fascinating thing about it. It's like, where does these books come from? Why do they come from there, not the other places? Peter Pan. Peter Pan is a classic as well of child never growing up. Or adult never growing up. Who dis? Vending machine. Let's see. Eduardo. Hello there. I am writing a story about a world with ocean, with texture and appearance of space. Ooh. A girl leaves her harbor town and to find answer for her dreams. Is it connected to the ocean? Hey. You know the story better than I do. I can't tell you whether it's a good story. I think you can you can do a lot with it. It depends what you as the writer are the only one who knows if it's actually connected to her dream or if it's just made up. Maybe there was an interesting idea was pitched to be is this is a little bit of a change. I'll change it up a bit so I don't dox anyone or anything like that or reveal anything. But the idea of a small town where in the sort of drug-fueled 70s, I think we conceptualized that idea, like drug-fueled 70s, but the small town has like monsters, and of course people don't believe it because, well, everyone's on drugs there, or like they do drugs and they might see a lot of hallucinations, but then you have to question are those monsters real or are they just sort of hallucinations? And then you can have the character investigating that, and what they may find may surprise the reader. Simple things like that, but I like the concept of like, is the dream meaningful or is it just you giving it meaning? Let's see. What do we have? What else do we have here? I need a hero. Yeah. That vending machine Isekai was pretty fun though. No. I gave the vending machine Isekai a pass. I understood the joke, but it didn't. I was more tempted by the sword, like in Isekai as a sword. But once again, they did the stupid thing of a character knowing what an Isekai is. And he's like, oh, I guess I'm in the Isekai world now. I should be getting my menu with superpowers that will allow me to be a god. Ah, here it is. Anyway, now I guess I'll just level up to a max level and kill everyone. I'm like, great. It's super boring when they know what an Isekai is. It's like, that's lame. I don't like it. You reduce the suspense. But again, I can understand from their point of view that everyone's so used to the Isekai trope that you just want to speedrun the whole, where am I? What is this place? Who are you? How does this work? I understand the necessity for like, let's just speed things up. You know where you are. You know what you're watching. So yeah, fascinating. What else? What else do we have here? I enjoy the trope of villain not being villains for the sake of being evil, not because they're products of, but because they're products of their environment. I had the mice over, so like I don't want their actions to be justified, but explained. Oh, the music switched off. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, music back. So villains are an interesting thing. That's why I keep defending demons in Frieren, because if they're naturally genetically coded to be evil, can they be evil? Because to be evil for me is like a choice. They have to make the decision to be evil. If it comes in genetically, then they're just animals of instinct. And then it's like, well, are you really being a hero if you're just executing animals for being who they are? Yes, but again, if they're trying to kill you, then it's survival of the fittest. Interesting topic, but that's why I'm being very careful when it comes to picking the villain. Yeah, just being a villain for being a villain. Sometimes it can be fun, but normally I still think they need a justification, or like an explanation of why they're villainous. They don't have to be lame. That's all I can say. They don't have to be like, oh, I was bullied at school, so I'm gonna be the bad guy. Sometimes my favorite ones are normally the ones that are failed students, because I very much relate to that idea. This is from my childhood, really. Is like when I was doing karate as a kid, and then when I was doing karate as a kid, and then we had to do like a little exam to get the new belt, and everyone succeeded, and I didn't get it. I was like, oh my god, what did I do? I'm pretty sure I was doing everything right. And he's like, well, no, you just need to practice more. I'm like, but everyone else got it. And that's where my villain arc kicks in. It's like, you bastard, I'm gonna ruin your life. And I was a kid back then. I can imagine someone who's much like Anakin Skywalker, who's like, yeah, you can't be a Jedi Master. I'm like, just give him the title. He's gonna be much better with it than you denying it is just gonna give him motivation to just be against you. So what else do we have? Apart from one, God, this chat is active. I can't believe I have so many viewers today. Yeah, welcome everyone, welcome. Happy to have you here. You're just enjoying me chatting and just my character standing in front of spears. Let's see. Thanks for reading the comment. Yep. Where was I? A part of me wonders why most writers, big or small, get overly sensitive over critique. Like, don't you want to improve your skill in future project? It's identification with the story. Young writers put themselves into the story, and it's hard to take critique for that because you're saying, when you're writing in, you're thinking like, this is the smartest thing in the world. Of course, I want the cabbage to be a hero. That's his dark, unlocking his dark side. Whatever you want, a random story. And then someone else like, why is it a cabbage? Like, you as a creator go like, well, I thought about it. That's me putting myself into the work. It's me, not necessarily as the cabbage. I don't know why I picked the cabbage, but you know what I mean. Let's go for my edgy character, Xavier Darkwing. Let's go for that one. He's super edgy and everyone likes him because, yeah, that's my ultimate persona. That's what I want everyone to like him. So I'm gonna write that everyone likes him. But then as you grow older, you realize that, yeah, not everyone's gonna like you. Not everyone's gonna think you're great, and then you have to ask why. It's just a lot of self-reflection in that. And once you start doing self-reflection, then criticism becomes easy. It's like, yep, I read the comments. I know people say, oh, you're a YouTuber, you should be reading comments, but I do. And a lot of them are like, okay, you didn't explain this enough, you didn't explain. I'm like, yep, I guess I haven't, so I guess I'll try to do it next time. Because what else can you do? You can't remake the video now and fix it. You're like, okay, it's never going to be perfect. You just want to sometimes just release the thing, get the feedback, and then do another one. Because if you just be like waiting for the time it's perfect, it's never going to be perfect. Okay, well, let's see. Have a look at this. I hope you don't mind me rambling here. I do ramble sometimes. It's not perfect yet either. Normally I put all my thoughts on writing essentially instead of just blabbering on. But sometimes I can think of something quite nifty that I would like to share right away on the spot. It's the most purest form of expression is improv. Not when you're building a hotel though. Keep that in mind. You want to plan those things out. Let's see, apart from big or small, and how writers can go into depth of concept if people are born bad or just a product of the environment. That's up to, I think I know what you mean, and I'm hopefully interpreting it right. It's like, how can a writer explain that a villain was born bad or just product of the environment? That's how you want to explain. That's up to you. I like the idea of ambiguity where it's not yet certain. You only judge people by their actions, or like what they're saying, or how they're behaving. Thanos is an interesting character from Marvel, surprisingly enough. While I don't necessarily think that I think the Marvel Thanos is better than the movie Thanos is better than the comic book Thanos, because the comic book Thanos is like, I want to kill everything because I want to prove to my girlfriend Death, my future girlfriend Death, that I'm cool. I'm like, that's not great. It's original. It's a fun concept, but I kind of like the idea of him like having sort of misjudged solution to the problem, because really the better answer to that problem would have been doubling the resources. If you know the Thanos objective, he's like, kill half of the universe in order to balance it out. I'm like, great, but you also have the power to double the resources, which would achieve the same thing without the killing. So why are you killing? Is it just, are you just locked into that idea? Is there some sort of inner vengeance there that you want to enact on? Let's see, what else do we have here? I hope, God, the chat. I like the chat. I like this active chat. I'm trying to answer everyone, so I might be slow. If I can't answer, I'm sorry. Aspect of it. Oh. Basically junk food. Yeah, it's basically junk food. It's literally junk food, the vending machine anime. I have a question. What do you think makes a story nicely written? The way I would describe the stories I like are the ones that use writing as an art form. It's less almost to do with what they're writing rather than how they're writing. So things like, I'm sad, I'm lonely, I'm depressed is not exciting enough for me. But if a character is like a character who is not liked by others, you can interpret that as he feels lonely or isolated. Albert Camus' The Stranger, his perspective on the world is fascinating. It's extremely interesting to see a nihilist view on the world, but you can see the humor in it, the dark humor of the, spoilers if you're gonna read Albert Camus. I'm gonna spoil one scene, but there is a scene where, muted me now. There's a scene where there's a dog owner, who is a neighbor of the main character, of the protagonist, and that dog owner keeps abusing the dog, like kicking it and stuff. And he's like, yeah, he likes kicking that dog, and he likes being the one in charge. But then the dog runs away, and the dog owner gets depressed. I'm like, oh, I feel sad. I feel lonely without the dog, And you have to sort of think about the sort of the absurdity of it. It's like this guy showed no love for the dog, and the dog ran away, and only then does the dog owner be like, no, I actually like that dog. It's like it's dark, morbid, but damn, it's like, yeah, it's a human condition. It's exploring it in a very sort of unfiltered way, and that's you could say that's edgy. That would be the modern day edgy equivalent. But yeah, you could have done it many different ways, and you chose to do it this way, and there's a reason for why you chose it. Let's see, what do you have? Let's see. Vending machine. What do you think, story? Doesn't that skip the fun of exploring the new world? How ridiculous. I lost what? Lost the context of that question. That can't wait for slime Isekai. That one has massive nuance. Are you saying I've been reincarnated as a slime? It started off with an interesting concept. Now it's given up on it. It's now the slime is too powerful now. It's not about them being a slime. It's just city building simulator at this point. But I've given up on it, so maybe he has changed. I don't know. I think it's like season 3 or something like that I sort of given up on it. It's like when they attack the demon girl, and they're ultra powerful, and everyone's just becoming so overpowered in that world. It's like, how would I keep up with the power scaling? Let's have a look. Oh gosh, last time I was here, I slept myself through that journey playthrough. Oh, that was a nice, relaxing journey playthrough. I didn't realize that the bitrate was so low, so it was you couldn't see the actual true beauty of that game. I apologize for that. It's something in the settings. Let's see. I wanted to write an isekai where character got reincarnated as deaf, and he joins 3 other isekai spirits who are the embodiments of other horsemen, but they're personalized where they're opposing their role. Okay, I see. I think I don't understand what you mean. They're forced into this role, and they don't want to do it. Always a fun one. Always a challenge, because you have to really set up the rules of how they're forced to be in those roles. It's like, are they shocked? Every time they don't obey, or are they? And how are they gonna think their way out of it? How are they gonna refuse their role? And are they gonna have to play around with the rules, bend the rules, or play along for a little while and then find an escape that way? That becomes the hook of the story. What else do we have here? Challenge the status quo, stuff like Nimona. Never heard of Nimona. We're holding spears, saying, tell us more. Yeah, sure. I believe that. Don't worry, these spears are harmless. And they can't touch me. We already established they can't touch me, so that's all good. Don't worry. Let's see what else. Out of curiosity, have you followed Freerin after your video on it? If so, have any of your opinions changed? I now think that it is one of the best animes of a long time. I'm happy putting it in like the top 5 best animes of all time. I'm still pondering whether it's better than Psycho Pass, but it's damn up there. It's using storytelling in the way I like, which is they're being subtle, but they're using magic in a way to explore personality more. Like, again, I'm not gonna spoil what's happening in the anime now, but there's the magic and the enemies there are representative of characters or relationships, and I love that. I love the allegorical nation of Freerin. And you know, there's a scene where a guy walks down the street and sees a cat with a child, with like a kitten, and you can see him taking time to look at it, and I'm like, you know, snap, I immediately know what it's all about. Or at least I know the general idea of what the character is feeling at that moment. Because there's a reason why that him looking at a cat with a kitten is important enough to show, to animate, especially animation. It means there's someone wants to tell you something with that shot. Unlike Husband Hotel, which seems to be like, we just need wacky stuff happening everywhere. We just need to see Mimsy jumping in, telling her name and yelling it out, ruining one of the best songs. But anyway, that's a rant for a whole another day. What else do we have? Also, if you do want to chat, make sure you join the Discord. I am on the voice chat there quite often. We talk about all kinds of things. We play Gartic Phone. If you're interested in playing Gartic Phone, I'm happy to set it up. It is available. I'm happy to play as well. But for now, I'm happy to chat as well. Don't know how long I'll be around, but you can always catch me on the Discord. I know Salty Shark is there. We chat a lot. I watch your videos. I enjoyed. Yay, thank you, Tuna. Where are we? Let's have a look. Out of curiosity, have you followed Freerin? Yep. Ebony Darkvein, Lord of Shadows. Ooh, I like that name. I don't like the Isekai trope and Chosen One trope. The only exception I have about those is the Avatar cartoon. Oh God, I feel sad for you. They have the Netflix live adaptation and it's terrible. It's the worst piece of writing that I ever seen. Episode 1 killed me. I was on the Discord channel and we were watching together with another Discord member, and we were watching it. And he could see me squirming in pain, in utter pain of listening to that dialogue. It's literally one of the moments where like, oh, Aang, one day you will regret not spending time with your teachers. And immediately I'm like, okay, he's dead. He just signed his own death warrant by saying that. I didn't even need to. It's such a cliche line, and you know what they're setting up in such an obvious way. I'm like, how dare you? How dare you? It killed me. And then I think the narrator was also doing like, Aang is about to embark on an epic quest, but there may be dangers ahead. I'm like, don't spoil it. There will be dangers again, such as the Fire Nation. You know, a mysterious unknown character or whoever. Just like, don't spoil it. Let me watch it. Shut up, narrator. Jesus. What else do we have here? Oh God. I'm looking at the chat. It's like, oh my God, everyone's chatting with me. I don't have... My voice is dying. It'd be like, oh, what does Trent sound like? He smokes 100 packs of cigarettes. I'm like, I wonder why. Like, it doesn't shut up, this guy. Let's see. Hold on, I'll come back to you guys. Don't worry. We're getting there. No worries, we love rambles. Give us time to think more questions. God, no, not more questions. I also get why people felt Frieren was racist. But they kind of fell for the facade those demons used to prey on people's emotions. Again, I made a video on that. I'm still debating. I'm waiting for the season to end, and then I'll grab the manga and go read all those important things about demons. See what they're all about. Because I'm still not convinced that Frieren's take on demons is biased. You know, that's my take on it. I don't think she's as unbiased as you think she is. It's someone was mentioning in the comments that I thought it was really funny is they were like, well, you know, Frieren was right that demons always lie. Even the demons agree. I'm like, that's a paradox. It's like, if a demon is always lying and he agrees with your statement, is he lying or is he not lying? Because you can't have both. It's a paradox. This statement is false. Or, you always lie. Yes, I agree. So, dwell on that. Okay, what else do we have? Good. True. No worries. Rambles give us time. Racist. Okay. I'm not sure if it's an easy question to answer. But what is a good estimate of a writer giving fair attention to all characters, at least essential ones? Ooh. The way I see things is that the side character, so the main character is the most important thing in my opinion. That's whose story we're watching. That's the POV. The side characters tend to be either representation or a challenge of the main character. So let's say Goku and Vegeta, right? Vegeta is just not just a complex character, but he is the roots that, you know, the Saiyan roots that Goku has forgotten. He's adding to Goku's character by just existing and doing his own thing. That's what Goku needed to embrace to become Super Saiyan. He needed to embrace his heritage as a Saiyan. That he's not just an Earthling, that he is a Saiyan, and he has to have that rage, the sort of, you know, anger and vengeance that a lot of times drives Saiyans. So he's embracing the heritage, and he can only do that if Vegeta existed. If Vegeta didn't exist, or the Saiyans didn't come around to Earth, he would never achieve Super Saiyan form. So the character has to give the side character has to give something, you know. So Luffy is another character who's airheaded and always positive, and giving him Zoro is a great way of expanding both Luffy, because now you have a contrasting character, a serious fighter, next to a kind-hearted sort of character protagonist. So now we can have conflicts between them that helps us get a better perspective on both characters. But there's a reason why they're, you know, there's a reason why they are the way they are. Why Luffy's so positive and happy, why Zoro is grumpy, and then you have other characters who add, you know, who add more to the story. It's like these are different aspects. One of the good examples was always in storytelling, you have a locked door, and you have to describe how each character opens that door or goes through that door. It's an interesting writing exercise. It's mainly spawned from like D&D. It's like you have a locked door. What do you do? And you say, well, my character is a thief, so he might go to steal it from the guard. Well, my character is maybe very social and charismatic, and they try to seduce someone to unlock the door. Maybe my character is tough, and he just smashes through the door. And all of these things are different character traits that you can explore. Maybe their character doesn't even want to open the door. Maybe they have a spell. How do they learn the spell? Well, they're studious. It's such a simple thing. It's like, how does a character open a door? That's it. Or unlock a door. Can they pick lock? Would they be interested in picking why they're going to that door? Each of them will have a different answer. And that's what you want. You don't want characters who just say, I unlock the door. That's lame. What else do we have? At least the essentials writer giving fair attention to all characters. Yeah, that should come naturally. Going back to the side characters, their goals will be motivated by the main character. Normally, they have their own goals, but the progression of the main character will give them the information they need to progress through their own story, and that can encourage them to hang out. You know, a character may go on an adventure, and another character will join them for that adventure because they have a similar goal. Well, they have a different goal, but they have a similar path, so they just go along. Robin Hood, Little John, good examples there. Constantly butting heads, but also being best buddies. That is a very interesting. The Little John Robin Hood story where they're fighting across the bridge is a great one because it puts them in visually. It puts them in opposite ideas. Like they are at an impasse. They cannot cross, and they're not willing to give up their ideas. So they have to fight. They're not willing to give up, and then after they fight, they both go for the same path. They both join teams because one of them is, convinced the other, essentially. And of course, they've convinced it in a fight. If you watched Men in Tights, Robin Hood Men in Tights, actually, I think that's a very good interpretation of that story. Especially when you have the other character come in and be like, come on, Robin, this ain't really the Mississippi, you can just jump over the creek. And the Robin Hood is like, no, it's the principle of the thing. And Little John agrees. And them agreeing is already putting them in the same path. It's brilliant. I love that. Them agreeing is very nice. Just they don't even need to fight at that point. They both agree that principle of fighting is something they can both agree with. So they already are in a good relationship from the start. What else do we have? God, there's so many questions. No! We do Champions League. God, I love answering questions. I always do because it gives me an idea to practice my consulting sort of or guiding other people and see if I can improve on that as well. Like what are the common questions writers have, so I know what I can answer in my further content. Let's see. Easy question to answer. Okay. Like balance of stories, attention to other characters. Yeah. The more you write the story, the more time you have to flesh out all the characters. Why do modern writers rely on safe edgy instead of actually pushing what you can get away with? Because they're not mature enough to actually push the existential, the dread of doing something really edgy. That's it, Hazbin Hotel is happily swearing because all the other shows paved the way for that kind of expression. They're not doing anything exciting. That's my problem with the swearing in Hazbin Hotel. Like if that show came out 15 years ago when all the swearing in animation was highly criticized, well, that's different. Now you're trying to push the boundaries in order because you believe that what you're gonna accomplish will somehow benefit society. Like you are pushing boundaries, but now that it's all been pushed, what can you do? It's like what boundaries are going to push that have not yet been pushed, And that's where they're like, well, I'm being edgy. I'm like, well, everyone else already been edgy before that. You're not pushing anything. The real edgy thing would be actually acknowledging how the edginess affects society, I would guess. Like I said, the thing about a good example, I know I'm going on rambles again, but a good example is I think it's called The White Shroud. It's a Lithuanian book I read. Again, another existentialist book. I seem to like those. But in The White Shroud, the character who's essentially a student who is basically dealing with depression, and it's quite an interesting kind of a dark subject because he wants to Minecraft himself, if I want to be polite about it. So the writer doesn't mention that. He doesn't mention the S word directly. He gets the character to go to like a shop, and he has to buy a rope. He asks the shopkeeper for rope, and the shopkeeper goes, "How many meters do you need?" And then the student, he's like, "Oh, my life is measured in meters." And that sentence alone was like, okay, I know what he's gonna do. That's an edgy thing. Like he's not saying he's gonna do it, but it's just like he's contemplating the idea of like, what was his life worth? Is his life worth the meters of that rope? Because that's what he's contemplating. Is like, okay, that's edgy, but it's the edgy where you're like actually have to think for yourself a little bit. You have to make the association. It wasn't clear enough. He does the same thing with there's a word tick, but in Lithuanian tick just means like, it can mean the tick of a clock, but it can also mean just the word just, like just this. And he uses those two words to as a play on words to be like, the clock is ticking and I'm just doing this, just going up and down, because he's working as an elevator operator back in the whatever times that you needed elevator operators. And his job was just to stand in that elevator and go up and down. And he just, especially because that's him later when he's a grown up, and he keeps remembering of that moment he once wanted to Minecraft himself. And he's just like, did I really make the right choice? I'm like, woof, that's a tough one. That's a real edgy one. It's not one of those like, oh, we're gonna say the F word a lot, haha. Like, there's a level of edge you have not yet explored, my child. What else do we have? Edgar Allan Poe. I suppose he's a more mainstream edgy guy. Oh boy, the chat is still there. Hold on, I'll be with you. I hope you can stick around. Follow the character's choice to themselves. Asmund to Hotel Rock. Hold on. Where was I left last? We follow the character who tries. Okay. Yep. Has been made rocks able to hurt angels, so I don't know how they were killed before. Yeah, don't worry about that. The angels there confuse me very much so. Very much a confusing topic. Because I don't know why they wanted a war between angels and demons. It's again another edgy thing to do, but all you have to do really is make the angels arrogant and be like, we don't believe that you can redeem a sinner. And that's it. They're villains now, you know. And once they see that it's like Thor, Captain America lifting the Thor's hammer a little bit. It scares Thor. And you're like, oh, okay, oh. So that's what would happen if like the angels start seeing the redemption is actually a viable fact. It's not that they don't want people to be redeemed, but the idea of a demon coming to live with them and with angels is a scary thought. Like that could, like if Penchas was redeemed at the start of the season, and then I don't know, if you want to be edgy, he gets killed in heaven, or he gets like hid in a way that no one else knows that he came from hell. That would be a much more tense moment where you're like, oh, okay, now we're not playing fair. We achieved our goal, but the angels are refusing to acknowledge it. I'm like, ooh, now we're cooking. Now we're cooking with some conflict. What else do we have here? And now I know how to use it. I'm going to use my mouse to hover over the questions I answered. Salty Shower, what is your top 5? No order needed. I have my anime list. If you're asking for my top 5 anime, let's see if I think I put them basically in that order because it's the only 5 that I have is listed as 10. So no, Chain Soldier is definitely not one of them. So there's a few movies there. So number 1 is Summer Wars. It's not an anime show, but it's a movie, Summer Wars. Wolf Children, brilliant anime film. So first anime on this list is Psycho-Pass. That's number 1, best anime of all time in my estimation. Frieren is there. Definitely Death Note. So 1, 2, 3, and then it gets a little more murky because so Death Note, Frieren, Psycho-Pass, and then if A Place Further in the Universe is a brilliant film. I'm tempted to make a video about that. Not film, anime. It's cute girls doing cute things, but damn, the ending. It's an emotional ride. and it uses very well, like establishing like the characters so well, and you feel for them. Yeah, it's very effective. If you need to see, even like the basic things, like they capture the idea of being a child. Like it's such, obviously they're doing it in Japan, but you can still relate to the same things that all of us go through as we get older and mature. So Place Further Than the Universe deserves, I think, being in that top 5. But then then there's more important ones like Dragon Ball Z, Digimon Tamers is great, but they're a little bit different. They're more nostalgia great, not necessarily quality great. Hey, Guardian Falco is here. Oh, thank you, Guardian Falco. Super chatting, yeah. It's just like, thank you for the support. Yeah, I need it. Poor Foxo. Let's see, where are we? Oh god, I missed it. Where is it? Hold on. Going back to all the questions. There we go. Top 5. Definitely very wishy-washy. Mimsy killed the episode for me. Yep. Mimsy is... I don't know why she was put in there. She was completely useless. And the best thing about Alistair and Lucifer, and I thought that's what they're going to do. In the pilot episode, I could see that happening. There's a scene where Alistair is looking at the picture of Lucifer and Charlie. And I immediately made a connection, and I don't know whether that's going to be what Vivsy wanted, is the connection that Alistair was going to replace Lucifer as the father figure. He wanted to groom Charlie as like, this is my child now. You lost her because you were neglectful. And that's the idea of Alistair. He's the cool dad that Charlie wanted, as opposed to the lame dad that she had. But they didn't do that, so never mind. I just wanted that to be, because the song between them fighting over Charlie's attention is a sort of indicative of that's what they were planning to do. But they just give it up on that because they introduced Mimsy. Great, thanks Mimsy. Useful as always. Thank you Mimsy. Let's see. Might as well have demons get burned alive. Wait, didn't Tom from the pilot get burned? Yet Blitz and Millie don't. Oh god, this is going into lore. I don't know. Let's see. Especially with Has been doing the Ruby style of world building, where they drop lore in live streams. Yeah, Insta posts. Those don't count. I don't even acknowledge them. I don't like that. The post creation modification. I don't know if that's the correct way of. It's like, oh yes, it's not a plot hole. It's actually in lore. It actually makes sense, guys. Trust me. I'm planning this for the next season. Just because Charlie is an idiot at this point, she's just playing 5D chess here, guys. Trust me. Just like, no, it's as written. You had time to sort this out. You didn't do it. Don't talk to me anything. Just like, don't tell me all your lore things that you were planning to do. I only care about the result. Let's see. What else do we have here? I know the lag. There's so much. I'm so behind. Oh Jesus. Oh geez, sorry guy. I'm so behind. Interesting. Not 20. Let's see. I seduced the door. Yep. Let's not skip a few. Yeah, there we go. I had an idea if I had been a hotel, could have been, and mind you, I only watch video essays. Since they had an 8 episode limit, it only focused on Serpentius and AD trying to redeem while hinting at what actually is like. Yeah, I think Pentius was underutilized in this. He was the go-to of like the first soul to be redeemed, which would have been a motivation for Angel Dust to get his act together. Angel Dust couldn't be the first person to graduate, if we want to say that, ascend. It had to be Pentius. I don't even know why Pentius is in hell, to be honest. He's never done anything bad. At least the show is telling me that, because he always fails at doing any kind of danger. So he's completely hopeless. And he's completely kind. He's just shy in the sense. He's just shy and timid. And he's obviously has insecurity problems, but is that worth going into hell for? Again, I don't know the rules. I don't know the rules that they established. So I don't know what gets into hell and what gets people into heaven. They never established it, so it could just be a coin flip. You roll heads, you go to hell. Roll tails, go to heaven. Because might as well be with all the psychos in heaven. Four shadow, now 5 shadow. Do you give advice on comics, novels, and animations? I do, because they're all storytelling. They're all story, and no one is qualified to necessarily give storytelling advice. You don't have to finish a degree to know how to tell a good story, and many people will have their own ways of telling stories anyway. So the published authors obviously have more experience because they've completed a story, which I think is something I need to do in order to fully experience of like writing a story from start to finish and getting it published and getting it. I think that would give me the experience needed, not just theoretical idea of what I like. Because talking about it and doing it is two different things. And normally I like the Murphy's Law of those who can't do teach. It's always because if I was good at writing, I would be doing the writing, not live streaming talking about writing necessarily. But I also like talking about it because it helps me prepare for the actual job of writing it as well. Just like applying the same rules. Learning by teaching is a great way of learning. It's like, can I convey this information? And if I can, that means I understand it. Great. Let's see, what else do we have here? How can enemies to lovers be done? It can't. It's impossible. It can't be done. Impossible. No, a joke. Of course it can. It depends what the level of enemy is. If they're rivals, it's easy. Because their passion for whatever they're rivaling against is the thing that brings them together. That's usual like Goku Chi-Chi kind of thing. Well, I suppose Chi-Chi had their own motivation. I suppose Videl and Gohan would be a bit different one. They're fighting because they want to be the best. They're sort of in the way of each other, but they can't completely go past each other because they keep always rivaling. So eventually they get feelings for each other because you spend time with the person. If you're going for the different enemy, Sly Cooper is another one, I suppose, from that. It's like you will have some admiration for the guy you're chasing. If you're Carmelita, I think it's Carmelita Fox, isn't it? The guy chasing Sly Cooper. Yeah, Carmelita is like obsessed with him. And even though she's masking, she's there for like, oh, I'm gonna get that raccoon, I'm gonna get that thief. She's masking her feelings behind her career, and you can reinterpret that as just like, yeah, she's career driven, but she still likes him, and the only excuse of her spending time is like, oh, I'm doing this for a career, don't worry. Hey, I've done that. I'd be like, hey girl, I'm really struggling with this random thing that you're good at it, you can help me out. I had the opposite as well when I was doing skateboarding. A girl was like, hey Trent, you're good at skateboarding, can you teach me how to kickflip? And being the clueless idiot that I am, I actually started teaching her how to kickflip instead of taking a hint that she fancies me and being like, oh, let's do something else together. So that's why I'm not good with ladies. I can't understand the hints. Funny enough, Mr. Visual Storytelling, I think it's a different problem. Okay, let's see. Oh, where's my music gone? No. There it is. Continue watching. God, I am enjoying this chat. I might need to get a drink as well because I'm gonna lose my voice. I can tell. Hold on, I'll have a little sucky. This is some ASMR. Some cough drop ASMR. Let's see. Kind of sad people make excuses for the writing when the episode length isn't an issue. If Infinity Train, I think, and Garden Wall. Yeah, I don't understand people saying that 8 episodes wasn't enough time. If you cut out all the nonsense, you could have made a great story with 8 episodes. Episode 1, establish that no one knows how to get into hell. Establish the hotel. Or sorry, not get into heaven. Establish the hotel. Establish Adam as the one who's going to foil things. Episode 2, we get the new member, Serpentius. Get his deal sorted. Episode 3, see the struggles. See maybe Vox, the V's, or Adam is tempting Pentius to get corrupted again or give him the power that he wanted. And then in that power, he realized that maybe that's not what he wants entirely. Even though he has the power and recognition, he's not happy. Episode 4, time is running out. Maybe something else happens. You just limit those things a little bit. You don't have to do the side characters, the corporate board meetings, and pitching the hotel a million times. Go back. Let's see. What else do we have? I still think demons always lie. Its generalization at times goes on. Demons are evolving the ability to manipulate the truth. To me, it's always difficult to believe that a demon who knows how to lie and manipulate does not understand what they're lying or manipulating about. It's the idea of when I was reading about sadism in psychology. A sadist is a masochist. At the same time, he cannot be otherwise. He likes to commit pain, like to hurt others, because he understands the concept of what it is to be hurt. If he didn't understand the concept, he wouldn't be a sadist. To be a sadist, you have to understand what hurts people. And in order to understand that, you have to be hurt. And I'm like, that's a fascinating juxtaposition. So again, when a demon does it, a demon lies, but he has to understand what the lie is in order for it to be effective. He was just randomly using quotes. That's not going to work. He has to understand how he lies. It's fascinating as well. Like I use the word fascinating because I find it, interesting. The psychology of the demon. It's like, how is he because we know that they're not instinctually good liars, because we saw it with the little demon girl. She's not good at lying. She was completely oblivious of like what she did wrong. So it's not an instinctive thing. It's a learned thing, or a developed thing. So yeah, that's already giving me some questions on like the morality of killing demons. Oh god, the chats are still going. God, welcome everyone who's new. Welcome to the Q&A and free writing advice from yours truly. Fucking Falco spamming my channel. Let's see. You're just not a publisher. Yeah. Yeah. Writing novels is not the same. I need to. I'm halfway through doing my TTRPG, which I will definitely shill at some point after playtesting it a few times and everything. So I'm excited about that, because I really want a little bit more of a story-focused RPG. Instead of doing the math, I'm trying to make a little system that actually encourages per character development more than anything. Like there's 10 ways of doing a same persuasion roll. You're not just doing a persuasion roll. You have to decide on how your character will persuade. Are they going to be intimidating? Are they going to be charming? Are they going to be... And sometimes some works more than others. And that's how you have to think about it. But let's quickly go back to the questions. I'm still a long way ahead, and it keeps getting bigger. The list is big, and it keeps getting bigger. Let's see, where was I? Oh god, I'm lost again. Sedusador, yep. Hello, Water Dorito, finally I acknowledge you. Men in Ties is a better adaptation of the recent Hollywood Robin Hood TV show. Yes, that's true. I actually believe Men in Tights is actually more faithful to the Robin Hood lore than a lot of the other Robin Hood films. Besides the parody stuff, I still think it captures the sort of whimsical nature of Robin Hood. Like, those characters are very much like tropes of representing a certain character, certain type of person. They're not necessarily like need to be consistent or somehow deep or complex or whatever, have dark backstories. No, it's a way of representing a different point of view at that time that was very interesting at that time. How does one balance comedy and serious moments in series that are based in pure comedy or pure serious dark stories? I hope I'm making sense on this one. So how do you add comedy into serious stories? Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction is a good example. There's many stories like it, where the absurdity of whatever horrible thing is happening is the comedic part. And the Pulp Fiction still has serious elements to it, and it still has funny elements, and it can still balance those things out. You have to make it fairly realistic in terms of, or believable. Like the reason Jules and Vincent work so well is because they're obviously professional assassins, but they're so used to the job they don't really see like doing their job as anything immoral or horrible or what have you. It's just a job for them. Like the way they have a conversation about the quarter pounder with cheese moments before shooting up, an apartment like of people. It's indicative of their character. It's like they're so jaded by what they do, they don't really see it as anything more than just like, yeah, we just do this and go have some some lunch. That's us, job done. So that's why you balance the comedy. And like, yeah, there's so many scenes. I'm not gonna spoil Pulp Fiction if you haven't seen it. Great, go watch it. It's amazing. Even Reservoir Tarantino films in general have the good balance of comedy, and because it's absurdly cruel, but it's also like the characters are very fascinating. I feel like it's modern writing has given up. I actually heard people say that there are writers who believe that their writing needs to be so expository because of the fact that people use two monitors. So they're making a movie for for the second monitor. And I'm like, you cannot hate your job that much where you believe that. I would, yeah, I'm just making wallpapers. Honestly, I don't really think about it too much. I just need to make sure that the wallpaper is there. Just like, oh my God. Such power in your hands, and you just like, oh yeah, I guess I'll just do the bare minimum so that people can have me have those scenes play out while they're like doing homework or like playing video games. I'm like, oh my God, really? You've given up? It's conceding. It's conceding to better forms of entertainment. And that's where a writer needs to quit the job right there. It's like, I cannot compete with games. I cannot compete with whatever else people are doing. I cannot compete with Mr. Beast YouTube videos. So I'm just going to just do my job. And I'm like, oh my God, get out of here. Get out of this industry. Get your passion back. Go to Thailand. Practice martial arts. Write about your experience there, and then rekindle that spirit of writing. Let's see. What else do we have here? Just give up, lol. Yep. It's no point trying. That's my classic phrase. Everyone knows that. just give up and no point trying. No, don't say that. You can always do it. You just need to get the flame back. You need to get those spirits up. And sometimes it's good to take a sabbatical if you're a professional writer and you're like, I'm not challenging myself enough. And I'm like, that's why I quit some of the jobs. Like, I've just got too used to it that I didn't feel like I'm evolving anyway. I'm like, is this really what I'm going to do? Is this it? And that's why I was rekindling. I'm like, I'm just going to do some YouTube videos. I haven't done those for a while. 4,000 subs is apparently my limit when I did last time. And then I sort of give up. I was like, yep, I got a job. Get out of here. Get out of here, YouTube. Like, what it would be like if I continued that. That would have been an interesting alternative reality. But sure enough, I'm doing a bit of both. Doing some corporate stuff and doing some creative stuff. And then doing creative corporate stuff. Let's see, what do we have here? God, I need to be faster. I'm going to limit the time that I ramble on. But like you said, they probably aren't mature enough to pull that off. Yep, not rely on Am I the only who wished Adam had more development than just being one-dimensional bad guy? Yes, Adam could have been a cool character. I still like him. I still like him as he is now. He's maybe the second favorite character that I have. Like Serpinch is number one, and then Adam might be number two. Because he's somehow reasonable, but also a complete jerk. Like the way he reacts to certain things, like where he's telling, like, I'll just tell Charlie that you're an angel or you're an exorcist, and she's like, what will she think? I was like, I'll never betray Charlie. Oh, okay, I guess I'll just tell that. Like, did you not hear what I just said? He's so reasonable. He's like, I'm literally giving you a threat. Why are you even doing I'm never gonna betray my friend. There's no option for you unless you actually think that Charlie, just tell that to Charlie before Adam can take advantage of it. You could have been smarter, be like, okay, I'm being blackmailed. The best way for me to do it is to confess and accept the fact that I'm flawed, which is something that you could have done. And again, there's many interesting things with Vaggie that... I called her Abby? I think I called her Abby. God damn it. My brain is my... let's see. Where was I? Well, someone gets encouraged. How can you plan the story? I have a hard time writing outline in the bullet points. It's a difficult one. It's honestly a very difficult one. But the thing that helps me when I see these things, when I'm trying to plan a story from beginning to end, ending, some people recommend writing from the ending. Like you write the ending first, and then you try to find a way to get to that ending. That's one way of doing it. For me, I like to pick a theme of what I want to explore, and then a conclusion. It's like doing research, You pick a topic you want to study. You study the topic. You find out the conclusion and the reasonings, and that's it. That's your framework. And now you're just trying to put that discussion element into a narrative. So, the folly, whatever. What would you pick? A random one like the hero's journey. It's like the character that he is now is not sufficient. His goal is to become the hero he needs to be to achieve whatever. Get the girl, find a success, get riches. There's always now that I know the goal, okay, why does he want the goal? Well, his family's poor, so he has to get riches in order to feed his family. So that means we're implying that he's kind. Okay, can a villain exploit that? Yes, bam, villain. We have that. Who can help him overcome the villain shenanigans? Well, get a side character that would complement the main character. Bing bang bong. Things are just added in nicely once you know the goal, and then you just fit it in. Let's see, what else do we have? God, I hope you like this chill music, this rain music. Let's see. Hello, everyone. Oh my God, Guardian. Big spender over here. Well, enjoy that. Oh, mistake. Yeah, sure. I'll refund you. I'll buy you a video game from that $5. I'll buy you Minecraft. You don't have one yet. That's fine. Okay, thank you. Let's see, where was I? God dang it! And keep scrolling up. I have to keep scrolling up to see everyone gets their questions answered. That's my goal. So stop giving me more questions. Otherwise, I'll be here all night. Which again, I don't necessarily mind. I feel like I know there's a few new subscribers here and they all want to find out about me maybe. You don't have to ask about writing either. You can ask about me. But you'll get that. If you're on the Discord, you will you will certainly get to know me a bit better. Guardian knows me. Guardian Fortress, Guardian Falco. He's in the Trend Unleashed as well. He's doing Champions League with us often. We do Champions League quite often. There's another channel called Trend Unleashed, and that's for our live streams, our gaming events. Always fun to do. Let's have a quickly scan through. Plan a story. I don't think Big J is in Has-Been because he contradicted Has-Been's plot. I don't know who Big J is. Oh, I know who it is. Okay. I think I know who he is. Yeah, Guy has the big kiddie pool. Yep. Falco, okay. Sonli is here. Guardian Falco is here. I might... Oh, hold on. Are we in the Discord? Let's see. I'll keep on answering the questions. I'm tempted to have someone to chat with me on the Discord if anyone's interested. But for now, I'll just keep on doing the solo act. I'm going solo, guys. I don't need anyone. I can do it all by myself. Friends, who needs those? Speaking of which, I need to start making Nev a new avatar. I need to invite him. He knows more about filmmaking than I do. To some extent, some points anyway. Not entirely. He has his own takes that, I disagree with, but it's okay. You can disagree with. Anyway, where were we? Oh, your Wi-Fi signal goes up and down. Yes, it's my voice signal. It's just playing on a loop. Don't worry, it's not interactive in any way. But I like the idea that it is. So I'm trying to sort of act a little bit. I'm seeing what my character is doing, and I sort of time it to like make my arguments better. I know the exact timing of the size movement, so give it a more natural look. It's all the art. I think the reason most Western writers use stuff like social media or live streams is because they think it's on the same scale as manga. Western writers can use stuff like social media or live streams. I might not understand that question, sorry. That might be stalking against with someone else, so... True lore doesn't matter if not in the material directly. Yeah, the true lore doesn't matter. Yeah, having lore is great. Like, don't get me wrong. Normally that helps you more than anyone else. Having that lore to play around with, like I think that majorly helped Tolkien when he was writing his book, is because, well, I have a map, so I have a grounded reality. A grounded world that I can now think about what would it be like to traverse that kind of world. I have the lore, so I can understand why certain characters exist, why certain elements exist. It helps a lot. But I don't mind. I can go without it as well. I definitely have a lot of lore for this character. I do have a lot of lore. But I will reveal them as I go along with future videos. I always try to hint at certain elements and let the viewer sort of catch on with them. That's why I have those little moments in each video. They're like, "Why? This doesn't make sense. This has nothing to do with writing. Why is this guy fighting angels?" I'm like, "Yeah, just let me have my little indulgence in the side plots." Izen, another Discord member, says it's a very early 2000s video reviewer shtick where they have their little plot line going along. The only problem is that those take too long sometimes. They spend too much time on their little lore thing. Okay, let's see. Where are we now? Ooh, man. Monitor Muse based man got Riz kickflip, silent Riz. Oh, that's where my skateboarding story came around. All storytelling on screen, visuals, what people, that trend. All storytelling on the screen in visual, what people mean, is without dialogue. Yeah, dialogue, dialogue isn't bad, but I like the idea of when I try to think of a movie or scripts or whatever, I try to think of how can I tell that dialogue in visuals first. And if there's no way of doing it, then and normally there was always a way of doing it. Someone there's a I don't want to spoil the action scene. No, I'm not gonna spoil it. There's a that might actually come around at some point in the future. So, I feel on the side note while I'm reading some of these comments here, I try to see which ones I can answer. Has-Been Hotel could have been, if they got rid of the profanity, they could have been a pretty decent kids show. If they restructured it more to be like teaching values to people, to kids, that could have worked. They just need to get rid of all the swearing and things like that. Because the songs, it's very much inspired by My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, so it's not... I chose to use that example very, very closely because I can see instant one-to-one inspiration for the characters, for the pacing. It's a Saturday morning cartoon, Has-Been Hotel, but it tries not to be, and it fails miserably. Might as well just embrace who you are. I don't think it would. Monitor Muse says. While it's true they could have handled the story better within 8 episodes, it still would have been better for them to get more episodes. I don't think so. I don't believe that. I don't like this idea that, if we just give them a bit more time, they're gonna do it right. I'm like, no. That's not an excuse. The limited budgets. Godzilla -1 had a tiny budget and look what it made. Deadpool had a tiny budget and didn't have much runtime either, and look what it made. Successful things, like if there's passion and creativity and some thought behind it, you can do it. It's like, it's... What was it? Star Wars series who said that? Who was like, one of the TV shows, like Obi-Wan Kenobi failed because it didn't have the budget of Andor. It only had like a gajillion dollars and they needed 2 gajillion. I was just like, no. You're just gonna make it doubly more expensive and just as worthless. Yes, okay. Seduce the dice. Oh, I'm getting there. I'm getting close. Obi-Wan budget 10 million per episode, yeah. It's like, if only you had 20 million, we could have made it good. I'm like, no, the writing is still garbage. It doesn't cost anything to write well, except time. That's all you need. Everything else comes in later. In fact, they could have played a little bit. Has-Been Hotel could have played it a little bit better by focusing a bit more on like what they're animating instead of just animating too much, because all that, each frame is eating up the budget. If you want to do fluent animations, it's going to cost you. So you have to be smart with what you're showing. And sometimes you can sacrifice some of those frames if you can just find a good justification for it. You could have had 12 episodes. They may have been poorly animated or like less move, like will be less movement in there, but you would have a longer story. But it's all about balancing. You can't have everything. So you just have to make do with what you get. Let's see. Where was I? An example. Shaun of the Dead. Many examples. Simpsons is a great example. Okay, this is for chat since I'm dumb. How do I add someone? I'm not tech savvy, yeah? Just add and put the name in. Sorry. A movie for a wallpaper engine. Yeah. I like that idea. Did you know that your favorite things make you who you are? So that makes me Mr. Okay, Mr. Adam First Man. You are what you eat, you know? You are what you consume. It doesn't have to be food either. When you know how Vivzy thinks, you start to understand everything. Adam can't be more than just evil, white straight dude, bro. The fact that he smiles at loot before dying was impressive, to be honest. Vivzy is hopefully gonna grow up a little bit. That's what I'm hoping for her. I feel like she needs to be like... She's still in the My Chemical Romance emo phase, which again can garner a lot of sympathy from a lot of people who are also nonconformist in that regard. If you know Voltaire, not the philosopher, the musician, it's very interesting to see his journey, because he used to be like a goth kid that wrote like about the horrors of religion and like zombies and that, and then he grew up, and then he started singing country songs, and his reasoning was, well, I have a daughter now and I want her to listen to my music. So I want to make music that is a little bit cleaner so I can share that music with my daughter. And I'm like, wow, you grew up there. You know, and then he came back a little bit with a bit more mature themes, but I like the change. I'm like, okay, now you're thinking like an adult. You don't have to be the goth kid. Because back then he's like, oh yeah, I want to be a pretty boy. I want to be this little demon, Luciferian kind of character. And then later on he just became a country singer because he got married. He's like, well, I don't need to chase girls anymore. I can just chill out and I can eat snacks and stuff. My wife loves me for who I am. I have a child now. I've accomplished what I wanted. So I can now readjust myself to be the man that I want to be, not necessarily the little cough kid. And I feel like Vivzy might eventually come to that stage. Lauren Foss, for example, I think is a brilliant inspiration as well. She's clearly a mature person, and yet she still has the childish whimsy, and it works well to write well-defined characters for children. It's a good balance. You don't have to be a child to write for children. You just have to understand what makes those characters fun for kids. Bluey has also brilliant. There's a lot of brilliant storytelling in Bluey, and I didn't think that was going to happen, but sure enough. Let's see, where was I? So am I the only... I am the only one that felt Snake Boy was a shoehorned into the story. Not sure if the... So I heard many theories, but the idea was that Pinches was a fan favorite character, so they felt like they had to have him in. I certainly think that he's the best character still, but I think that's because no one cares about him. So like they don't ruin him. Well, they care about Alistair, they care about Charlie, they care about Vaggie. So they make them too complicated, or at the same time too shallow. They're like, oh, they're gonna have a cool backstory. They're gonna have this cool fight scene, all that stuff, because they think that character is cool. But then Pinches is just hanging around, and he can be flawed, and he can be like awkward, because the creators don't care about him enough, or at least they don't try to make him cool, because that's not what he is. And I'm like, oh, I kind of like him. He's the most reasonable character there. He's not... I get it. I like that he's not evil for evil's sake. He just seems to be like, I just want to be acknowledged. And they could have played with that a bit more, but they don't. So, okay, that's up to them. Reminds me, issues show Fujo. Oh god. I'm getting close now, guys. I don't have the scroll bar anymore. So either you're not commenting enough, or I'm getting faster at answering questions. Don't be a Linkara. No, Linkara is my hero. I really like the evil Linkara that he had. The negative Linkara. I don't know a catchier name for it, but yeah. I need him to fight to save the world and be the light bringer that he needs to be. So to clarify question on socials v manga, anime is based on manga an anime either adds to the manga or something, and people can go to the manga for more insights since anime don't show. I see what you mean. Yeah, but there's a reason why manga and anime have different elements, and they don't necessarily want to. They do it because they have to do it. They don't necessarily want to do it. So anime adds the filler in order to let the manga go progress a little bit, so they can give the writer time to keep on writing. So they have filler episodes. So that's what. That's why there's some anime that has more than the manga. But then on the other side, if the manga is too big and they can't put everything into the anime because of budgetary constraints, they cut it out from the manga. So sometimes manga has more than anime and anime has more than manga. It all depends on their scheduling. In the perfect world, they would probably just recreate the whole manga if they could, at the same time as the manga keep going. That's the ultimate world, kind of. But they don't do that. They can't. Yeah, kids. I'm reading about the kind of ironic that I've seen kids watching Hell of a Boss. That's the true audience. It's edgy kids like preteens or like little teens. That's why I added the Kaguya-sama clips, because she, at that point where she laughing at the word wiener, is like she has the mentality of like a small child that thinks those words are funny because they've been so sheltered. So like them acknowledging like, ooh, look at this is adult joke, it's funny. So that's the mentality of a 12-year-old, or as the guys from South Park would say, it's just like fourth grader humor. And I'm like, that works for South Park because the characters are kids. So I understand justified their swearing is justifiable. Not necessarily justifiable in Husband Hotel, where the characters are different kind of ages. 6, 7 year. Yeah, kids are now exposed to more and more adult stuff, or low-brow stuff. Once adult. Let's see. If your adult show can easily be turned into a kid show, then you have done something wrong. Yes. Funny how that works out sometimes, and you're like, I really want to be grown up and edgy, so I'm going to have a swear words a lot, and then all the kids are like, all the grown-ups are like cringing, and all the kids are like laughing, and you clearly miss the audience. You're like a reverse My Little Pony, where My Little Pony was like made for kids but got an audience with adults. Husband Hotel was trying to be for adults and ended up being for kids. It's interesting juxtaposition. Okay, I did it. I'm sure I skipped a few, but I see you're having a conversation in the chat anyway, so that's fine. But not everyone matures. Hopefully she does. I think she will. Hopefully. Again, travel to Thailand for 2 months, do some personal introspection without any friends or anything, and that gives you a bit of a perspective. Just see what the world is like outside of your bubble, your Californian bubble. You might learn a thing or two. You might get an experience. Why does romance in a lot of media feel so unsatisfying? There's still plenty of good romance in older media. Newer media don't really know what to do anymore because, relationships are falling. There's people don't understand how to do relationships. No one's teaching them, and a minefield that is cancel culture that has caused people to be paranoid about going on relationships is another thing that now we have to worry about. There's no rules set for how to date, so how can a writer write if they don't understand relationships? It's like it's just like how is that going to work out? If you're a writer and you don't have a successful relationship, how can you write about relationships without resorting necessarily to like pre-made tropes, which again is still unsatisfying. You can still learn from it. You can still learn from how other people write and try to get a good understanding. But again, it's a lot of it is going to be romanticized. And, you know, I think a lot of stories are romanticized versions of the reality. Invader Zim is surprisingly mature. I liked it as well. I liked Invader Zim. How does one write a character that is a darker half of the protagonist, like my main character, has a bio armor that is sentient but is sinister in its motivations? How does one write a character that is a darker half? It's difficult because I feel like that's been done in video games a lot and it doesn't work out. Normally, what happens is that the two, if you watch my video on the Jungian Shadow and Beastars, that's kind of what you need to do. It's when a character is incorporating that darker half into himself, that's where you defeat the sinister half. You don't try to kill it. That's not what you do. You don't try to kill your evil dark side. You have to accept that you are the evil dark side. And when you do that, then you have a sort of, you become stronger because you're now incorporating the evil, but you're also controlling it. So Harry Potter does that. Many characters do that. Again, even Goku. As I said, him embracing, Vegeta is his dark side. Him embracing his Saiyan heritage, his affinity to cruelty is why he becomes Super Saiyan, and that's why when he's fighting Frieza, he has to also come back to himself to like, I defeated you, I'm satisfied. I'm not gonna go beyond. I'm not going back into the evil killing because I'm still Goku, even though I'm a Super Saiyan. He's incorporating the evil side of him and becoming a stronger version of himself. And again, that happens in Beastars, that happens in Harry Potter, that happens in many shows. It's part of the Jungian psychology, the Jungian shadow. Really interesting concept. Yeah. So yeah, Venom. Venom is a good example as well. A symbiote is helping, I forgot his name, the other guy, the guy to achieve what he wants, what he truly wants. Well, but Peter Parker, when Peter Parker dons the symbiote suit, the symbiote is not there to necessarily make him evil. It's just allowing him to forget about his like reservations about doing immoral things. It's like, yes, you want that power, don't you? Yes, I can give it to you. Great, but what do you sacrifice if you commit to it? Well, you sacrifice the people you care about. You sacrifice your entire being for that power. And again, another trope that exists in media all the time. Darth Vader. You know, here's your power. What do you sacrifice? Well, your humanity. You're a more machine than man. So in your case, the protagonist needs to, if he has a sentient suit of armor that is trying to like make him evil, he has to have a reason to use it. So he's not just putting it in a little box somewhere and burying it. But he also has to be like, well, I need you to understand me, evil suit. We have to sort of work together. Because you can't live without me and I can't live without you. And we always have to compromise. We do that in human life, in human psychology as well. And, you know, you see a person you don't like at work, but you still have to work together and you have to make do with it. You don't just go, I don't like you. I don't want to talk with you. Like, great, you don't like me, but you have to acknowledge that I'm here and we still have to achieve our goal. So let's make the most out of this. Eddie Brock, yeah. Yeah. Think of, again, for me, the evil side of you is always, it's a representation of your character, of what your character could have been. So in the lore of Robing Trend, he has a dark side as well. So, but that's gonna become a little bit, it's gonna come in time. I'll explain it later when I'm finished writing it as well. But I'm seeing it more as like, okay, he's not the same character as the dark side, but he has to acknowledge that he was that dark side at some point. And can he be? Is he better or worse from what he is now from what he used to be? That's how I'll put it. That's the trope that I like. It's the Shadow Link. Shadow Link does that. It's like, here's a Link that is equally strong as you are. Can you defeat him? And that's how you have to prove yourself. Is like, I am now stronger than all my bad elements. I can defeat myself in a sense. I have defeat my own weaknesses or insecurities or whatever else that has been haunting me. You have to conceptualize these things. The evil shadow you is a psychological thing. It's not necessarily an evil you. It's not a physical thing. Let's see, what do we have? Yes, I'll make it. I'll make it public. I guess I'll make it public. Warts and all my cringy talk. Make some shorts out of it if I have to. Yeah, he basically needs it in order to protect his sense and stop scientists who wants to control. Yep. Yeah. So you have. It's don't say that softly. No. We don't say that in the live stream. We don't talk about him. Okay, any other? I think I managed to catch up. How's that? Isn't that amazing? I need to change this music. I think I'm getting bored of it now. Wham, 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 wham. Sci-fi noises. Bing, bang, boom. Let's see. Put some music up. Okay, what do we have? Justin Nelson. Your video on 7 deadly sins of writing was quite possibly one of the biggest reality checks I've ever had with writing. I never noticed how many writing sinned until I watched your video. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad you like it. I like it because okay, fine. I hope Nev is not watching this. I have not read his voice. He sent me a voice message, my friend. I shared him my video, and he's an academic guy. And I shared my video, and it's a 5-minute long voice recording that he did love, like his opinion on my video. I only listened to the good part of it. I haven't reached the stage where he began critiquing because I need to prepare myself for it. But he probably will say like, oh, you need some references, you need some like literature. Like most of my references, like my personal experience. Like, trust me, bro, that's my reference. So I understand that he might have that criticism, and I think many people will do. It's like, where do you get this idea that bad exposition is this, and how do you get this idea of this? Okay, well, I want to make it a bit more human in a sense. I want to be like, it's a personal list that I think many writers will do because many writers fall for the same same problems that I've done. Because academic people will say the same thing, but they'll do it in a fancy way, in a fancy, posh way. I'm just be like, yep, don't do this. I know you want to be. The best thing that helps me is pitching. Pitching is a skill that every writer should have. Because I heard a lot of pitches in my life, and I've made a lot of pitches as well. That's why I want to bring up the Jaws in Space part in the video. Is the idea that you can really hone in on what your story is going to be about by like trying to put it in a sentence. What's your story about? And then, because no one cares really about like the shadow government, no one cares about the evil villain or the romance until they know what the actual story is. What are we trying to achieve here? It's like, this is a story about John Williams, or let's say random guy. He is a detective who is down on his luck. But then, oh God, I'm actually making it too good. Let me just pad it out. He's down on his luck and he likes to drink and also eat macaroni. And also he has a quirk where he says, you know, a lot. That's his quirk. I'm like, okay, but what does he do? What's his goal? I don't care about the little details. We can suss those out later. What is the goal of him? Like, oh, he's looking for a missing kid. Okay, great. So that's our story. Detective looking for a missing kid. Why is he looking for a missing kid? What's his? Because the kid is it the daughter of the president? I'm like, no, that's not what I'm asking. Why is he looking for the kid? Why is he taking this job out of it? Well, he lost his daughter, whatever. Oh, well, now you have a connection with this daughter. He can now connect the girl he's looking for, with the daughter that was kidnapped or whatever. He's like, I don't want anyone to go through the same suffering that I have, so I'm going to take this job. Boom. You know, a father who lost his child trying to redeem himself by finding a missing child. Boom, easy peasy. All these little concepts, you can just, don't worry about the world building, don't worry about, just hone in on what you're going to tell. Luke Skywalker, kid goes on an adventure, you know. Farm boy goes on an adventure and saves the galaxy. It's a King Arthur story, basically. Everything else with the Darth Vader, the Sith, the Mandalorians, the whatchamacallit, the Force. I forgot the name of those things. You know, the things that count your Force abilities. Those are relevant. Those are once you get your story greenlit, you can start writing those things in. But at the start, when you're pitching the idea, you have 30 seconds to tell me your idea. So get that 30 seconds done. So, which I appreciate. Got some pointers in world building. I think I mentioned this earlier in the stream. One of the first questions was world building question, and I said treat the world as a character of its own. Imagine it being a character. Living in it is a unique experience. That's why you build so if it's an oppressive regime, you have to see how the world is destroying the people. Like how does the world oppress people? Not necessarily the characters oppress, but the world itself. Is something frowned upon by culture? Is that something that's stopping people from acting? Is it a heavenly world or like a very chill world? How does that, like, again, Dune, good example. In the world in the Dune books, the Dunes are the character of its own. People that respect the Dunes will survive, and people that don't respect get killed. You have, and it doesn't give the sentience to the Dunes, but it does give, like, there's a rule set that you have to follow in order to survive here. Even the way the characters walk in the sand is like, that's a unique thing. That's world building right there. The way a character has to walk is your world building. Why do they have to walk? Who made that dance up? It's like, now we're talking. Now we can cook things up. John Williams, after retiring from being a successful composer, he gets involved in a kidnapping case. Perfect. How much money do you need? I have a blank check for that. For a composer. Notes of the past or something. Call it something like that. That's an interesting concept. One of the joke concepts we have is an anime where a character goes to a high school where they do stock investing, and the stock buying and selling stocks are like Yu-Gi-Oh game. That was my pitch. You teach kids about investing while also making it a cool visual spectacle. It's like a share goes down. It just like gets damaged. My money. I'm losing my money. And like there's the evil characters who obviously are manipulating the market. You can make a lot of fun with those kind of concepts. You could have each character have their own trading strategy of how they invest. Maybe a character has a strong, stable portfolio that doesn't go radically, but they don't have to worry about it. And as you start researching the topic, you can start making characters based on that. Let's see, what else do we have? I'm trying to write a backstory relation between friends for a villain. How do I present their dynamic organically and make it make sense when my character falls off the deep end because of it? So your friend, so they're friends. They were friends with the villain. So the hero was friends with the villain. That's what you're saying. And how do you make that dynamic organic? Well, you can look at many other examples. Naruto is a good one. Perfect example of that. It's just they have different goals, and despite one wanting to be friends, the other one is still out for vengeance, and yet that leads into a dark path that the main character fundamentally disagrees with, and he has to sacrifice. He has to sacrifice his friendship in order, because he believes in something greater than that friendship. You know, he's like, I don't want to kill Sasuke, but man, he's not giving me a lot of choice, does he? He's like, am I gonna go through that? I can't do it. And everyone, even the other people who are, you know, much older and smarter and, you know, wiser, saying like, nah, you have to get rid of Sasuke. He's a threat. He's gonna cause more damage, and we have to get him out. And he's like, no, that's conflict. There you go. It's like, he's my friend, and I'm not gonna give up on him. And that's a sort of a almost like naive way of seeing it, but he's still holding to that. He's unwilling to, and there was moments where Naruto goes off the deep end, and Itachi has to bring him back. He's like, the moment you lose track of your friends and you say you can do things alone, that's where you know you went somewhere wrong. What else do we have? What else do we have here? I think trying to explain one story in a sentence is helpful, as I never thought of that. It helps you get focused. Yep, right here in a sentence, because you don't have to be original. There's nothing original anymore. All you have to do is just make it a simple concept and then make it your own. You know, man versus machine. Boom, Terminator. You know, pig wants to be a shepherd. Wow. You know, simple one sentence. What is it called? Piglet, I think is his name, or something like that. That movie. Shy, timid guy gets a mask that makes him charismatic and outgoing. And how does that? You know, does that mean he has to give up a bit of himself in order to become the thing that he wants to be? It's all about change. That was the mask. That's the concept of a mask. All the great stories have basic, simple premises that you can narrow down into a sentence, and it's very helpful, because as soon as you start writing and you're like, is this following the theme that I want? Is this about the hero, about a farm boy who becomes a hero? No? Then get rid of it. You know, we don't need that. So in this case, you know, we could rewrite Has-Been Hotel fairly easily. You know, one sentence. A girl wants to redeem sinners to get them out of hell. I instantly, if I had to do this concept, first of all, death would not exist in the Has-Been Hotel world. Like, in that hell, you cannot die. You are suffering all the time. And Charlie has to watch the suffering every day. And that's why that motivates her. She doesn't want to see that suffering, because she's excluded from the suffering, because she's born in hell. So she's a witness of this horrible thing that she doesn't quite understand why it has to exist. And through her goals of redemption, she then starts to understand why hell has a purpose. And okay, maybe it's not fair, but some of them who are willing to change themselves, maybe they get the right to go to heaven. Again, I like the Lucifer idea from the movie from the show Lucifer, that hell is just whatever the people think they deserve. And the people have to learn to embrace themselves, or accept their guilt, or like forgive themselves in order to get out. And that's a difficult thing to do in real life. There's so many people who destroy themselves because they don't think they're worth it. You know, that's hell. That's a representation of hell. You don't have to look far. They drink and do drugs. Well, because they don't see themselves as anything beyond that. And that's they're building their own hell there. They're building the life of complete torment. You know, so that's an interesting concept. That's a mature concept, and you could still have humor. You could still have humor of like the absurdity of like, why doesn't he want to get out of hell? What's keeping him from even trying? And like, wow, you know, you can make jokes about that. You can make all kinds of cool things. But yeah, that's my rambles. Wolfman and Prince on Baby, Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn. Hey, don't worry about that. That was... Yeah. I wonder how I could describe Twilight. Because it's hard to make these one sentence studies, like one sentence sort of descriptions to the stories that are not good. It's very difficult to do it for them because it's inconsistent. It's like there's no functional theme. So how do you do it? I think this is in a live stream though. It was mentioned that the killed souls are turned into objects in the environment, so basically alive in a different version of themselves still within hell. Yeah, but you can kill them as well, right? So then where did they go after that? Other objects? Yeah, I don't like it. You're making it convoluted. Because they want it to be Earth. Hell is not necessarily meant to be Earth. Because you're now telling that Earth is hell. You know, again, even heaven. You die in heaven, you have to work as a barista to get to rent an apartment in heaven. A place where literally you can do anything. Or technically you could have done anything. You decide to make Los Angeles with a coffee shop. It's like, that's not heaven. That's just Earth with extra steps. You don't... It's stupid. For the hell of a verse. Girl seeks romance, a vampire to preserve her immortal soul. Interesting take on it. Cool. Anyway, I think I caught up with everyone. I think I caught up with all the chats. So what can we do now? I guess we could play Gartic Phone. How does that sound? Ooh, some Gartic, Mr. Gartic Phony. But I don't... Lol, Thielen. Of course, you have more questions, you can always ask. You can always... Let's see. I hate what they did with Lucifer in the show. The pilot had him set up as this imposing, powerful figure who has not to be trifled with. Yep. A squishy and secure dude in the show, yeah. It's one of your subversions. Oh, again, Shinji Ikari. Use Gendo Ikari as your base for Lucifer, if you want. Or you again use Dark Souls, perfect example as well. Just have Lucifer sit in the throne. Or just not even sit in the throne, just have two empty thrones and Charlie's in between them. She doesn't have a throne, and yet there's no one in charge. That's her hell right there. No one is in charge, no one cares. Now she has to deal with it. That's her boulder to, like, that's her weight to shoulder. No king, no queen, just a little child. And I'm like, that's a horrible thing to do for both parents. For both Lilith and Adam. No one goes out of this unscathed. You left the child responsible of probably the most difficult thing to manage. A bunch of murderous sinners, you psychos. You know it. So nice that I can get a little cough drop for my 2 hours of non-stop speaking. How about that, guys? Give it a like if you haven't done yet. For my extra hard work of talking a lot. I know it's a hard job, but someone has to do it. Someone has to keep you entertained with some ASMR chatting. But yeah, let's see if I can pitch some ideas of my own. As I said, I had a high school for. You imagine Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, but with stocks. That's what I wanted to do in one of the concepts we had. Another one is based on my D&D adventure, which is a famous young teen novel writer, a fantasy teen novel writer in the world of D&D. He's like a nerd who writes these stories about his OC that all the kids like, and then eventually he basically makes a deal with a demoness that who's a fan of his work, that he gets the powers of the main character that he writes about, but he has to relive the entire life of that hero to make better stories. Like his whole life is being written down, so he's the main character. He's forced to be the main character he writes about. And if he's not doing interesting fantasy stuff, the demoness just sends more demons to attack or something, just like to cause conflict. So he has to play the role completely. It's sort of like Misery, but like a D&D version of that. That's another concept I had, which I think was fun. I like these weird concepts where you can do a bit of weirdness. Like where it's not taking it too seriously. I don't like stories that take themselves too seriously, because you can get the serious stuff in the absurdity. It's like, what does that mean that he, being a sheltered writer, fantasizing about adventuring? It's like, I like that concept. Because now you explore it from the writer's perspective, like what would be the cool thing to do in this circumstance, and he has to do it to be in character, even though he's just playing him, LARPing. He's especially LARPing his OC. And doing that, he builds up the confidence he needs. He becomes the character he dreams about being by doing the things he believes are of value. Detective story in a medieval fantasy world dealing with racial traits and magical shenanigans. Yep. I had this idea as well, actually. I remember that. Because I was watching Detective Conan, and I thought that'd be cool in like the medieval world. Not necessarily fantasy was another element, because now you have to include spells, which is like, I saw this guy kill this other guy. He clearly did it. I'm like, wait a minute, but what about the sky spell, like a transmorphication spell? It's just like, oh, now we have to include that. Is there traces of magic on the victim? There is. Who has this magic? Oh, it must be the warlock of Naharim. Like, great, let's go. And then the warlock is killed or something. Yeah, I can do it. Well, this. Okay, I need to take a breather. But I do like that there's quite a few people here. I hope you enjoyed my video, and I hope that it gets some good comments. I need to read a few of those as well while I'm at it. I'm glad that people are finding it useful. That's what I like about that video. I know I'm not saying anything necessarily outstanding. I'm not doing like master's degree on writing here. But I feel like at least do the basics right. At least get the concept right and get the characters in. Don't make them edgy OCs that everyone likes them. Like, just jump across that pitfall. You don't need to do that. You don't need to experience that. You can just circumvent it by just not doing them. Give your characters flaws. That's another one. Lots and lots of flaws. But not like edgy flaws, that's what it is. Please don't change your avatar. This one? This avatar here? Maybe, I'll see. This is the has-been hotel version of the same character. One of the running ideas I had is I would have a different avatar for different worlds. So if I'm in the anime world, I have the anime Trent Fox. If I am in the has-been hotel, I have the angular one. But I kind of like this one. I like this angular one. Because the last one I had was a bit more rounded. Which again, I like it as well. But considering this is a little robot foxo, then it has. I think Angular might work a bit more, just to emphasize the point that he is not. He's not a furry. He's a robot. What would you consider edgy in the first place? Oh, good question. Good question. There's a lot of edgy stuff. There's sure a lot of edgy stuff that you can pick from. So anything that Shadow the Hedgehog does is one. Moral ambiguity can often end up being very edgy. It's like, I could save this orphan, but I don't really care. Just like, okay, great. It's cool. It's cool that you think like you don't want to save the orphan, but it's gonna be a challenging thing to become likable if you just don't do anything likable. It's like, I don't stop villains. I kill villains. That's the only way you can solve the crimes. It's like, okay, Mr. Punisher. Like, I think Punisher is super edgy. I don't like that character, but a lot of people do. Because I think in his edginess, it's like there's suffering there. And you can play with that, but I personally find it's a challenging thing to do. And edgy. It's difficult. It's a difficult balance. It's like too much. How much swearing is too much? It's like how much edgy things is too much edgy. Oh, I suppose dark backstories are great. My parents died. Like a villain killed my parents. I had to live on the streets and learn from the hooligans that took me in and raised me to be the ultimate assassin. But the real, but I cannot be happy until I can avenge my parents' death. But wait, there's a beautiful busty babe that's after me, but I don't care about her. I'm too busy about revenge. I'm like, great, but I want to see you grow past that. I don't have time to grow past. I'm too busy thinking about my parents' death. I guess that makes it like more one-dimensional characters. That's the thing that probably bothers me the most. Is when their entire edgy goal, like backstory, is like the only thing that is interesting about them. Batman is not edgy. I think like Batman, despite him being like a brooding little sort of I was gonna say edgelord, but he's more like a very serious dad. He's like the serious dad that you have. It's like, especially when you see him like interacting with the Flash, who's more like a kid, like a Peter Pan-esque type character, and you see him like the grumpy dad who's never happy. It's like, oh man, I feel stupid for doing like making quippy one-liners about, you know, killing Thanos, or not Thanos, Darkseid or something. It's like, yeah, Batman is constantly thinking. He's always on edge. He's not relaxing in a sense. That's his flaw. He never switches himself off. He's haunted by both his past, but also it's just that's traumatic experience left him in a sort of a state of like unable to relax. He's upset. It's an obsession. He's a workaholic essentially. Yeah. Still online, nice. Yes, I am. I'm suffering. I need a new character. Let's go. I'm gonna open the door to the live stream at events chat. You are free to join me if you want. Let's see. There we go. I only leave it for the cool kids to come in to the Discord. Only the ones with the special privilege are allowed. Oh, but you won't hear them anyway. Let me just... I'm opening the floor so I can get a breather in. If you want to join, Falco, if you want to join the chat, you are free to do so. I'm just gonna put the Discord audio in so people can hear you. Or if you don't want to come, you don't. It's up to you. I've been here for 2 hours now. I'm happy to just chill for a moment. There we go. There we are. Okay. Nito Libito. One second here. I will probably. Yeah, save me, please. I need another character to join me in the discussion. I know you're in the chat. You're tired of typing, taking notes. Leland is the expert of edgy. He knows all about edgy. If I know Leland, and I think I do, he's far edgier than I am. To some degree. Oh, hold on a second. Don't speak. Oh god. 1 second. I'll put your audio in I need the output to be on my speakers. Yeti microphone. Okay, speak now. Testing. Leland.
Yeah,
you're here. Can you hear him, chat? Can you hear Leland?
Can you hear the edgy owl?
The edgy owl, yeah. Let's see, hold on. I have a great idea as well. Do you like my copyright-free music, sci-fi music? Everything really sets the tone.
Yeah, it's nice. I like it.
Oh, there it is. There it is. 1 second. I'm almost there. Oh, shit. Oh, sorry. I swear. I shouldn't swear.
Oh, Guardian also wants that there.
Hold on. I have a great idea. Scuff King trend. Here I go. I'm gonna defeat Monarch in terms of scuffiness. That's my goal now. Let's see. Add a browser extension. Let's see if I'm gonna screw this up or not. What do you think? What's your take?
50-50. I'll flip a coin.
Great, thanks. Challengers. Yeah, there we go. I need to put you somewhere. I need to get rid of me. So you're in the... You don't see it yet, but you will.
Oh my god. It's me.
It's you. Is this gonna work?
Oh, you still had the champion thingy.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, look at you. You're a character now as well.
Oh my god. Oh.
You're fading, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
There we go. So what do you think about the stream so far? Now we have our representation in the chat. So.
Oh yeah, finally.
Finally.
I was like complaining about the lack of owls, but finally. Yeah, I think the stream is now 10 out of 10.
There we go.
Not that really.
Yeah, we now have another character in the room. Who would have thought? If only people would join the Discord chat, they would be able to join the live stream if they're cool enough. Like you.
Guardian Fortress is not cool enough, even though he's in the Discord.
Oh, is he? Yeah, he's not. He's gonna come.
No, he said he cannot join.
Oh, well, never mind then. It's only us gonna beat you. So what do you think about the conversational writing?
No, like by the way, he wants to join, he cannot join.
Well, well, that's great.
Yeah. Well, I think
That makes it even better because I like the idea of him suffering. It's like, my favorite co-host, Leland, the one who always is there.
Oh God.
It would have been Guardian Falco, but he's always abandoning me at my time of need. It's only Leland that I can trust as my trusty co-host.
And now he's gonna have an edgy arc and become an edgy villain. Yeah.
He'll be the evil Falco. So yeah, we're just chilling now. Oh my God. Why am I back to this cringy music? Where's the good stuff? We should play fantasy world music now. Because you're here and you're not a sci-fi character, so copyright free fantasy music. Let's go. Playlist. Ooh, what is this? Oh, this might be too epic for you. You can't have that. There you go. Welcome. Welcome to the Q&A with Trend and Leland. We are now discussing edgelords, who they are, what they do, and why they're so edgy. Give me access. Let me in. I don't know if you're cool enough. Oh yeah, I forgot you don't have the access.
You're not edgy enough to join.
Hold on. Come to general chat. And I need someone to find you to give you the role. Join us. We're the Cool Kids Club.
Yeah,
there he is. The roles. I'll give him a hack victim, super duper mod. No, he's a participant.
Only people who've been bullied and suffered the edge can join.
There we go. He's in.
Whoa. Hello.
Hello. We need to give you a little icon as well.
It's whatever you want to do. It's cool. I will look you up real quick and then shut off my audio. Because I don't want to overlap.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yee.
The Cool Kids Club is back. Everyone's favorite Leland is here, and I guess Falco too.
Yay! Welcome. I'm kind of honored to be a part of it.
Oh. Well, there you go. You will be soon.
Because this is the biggest things I've ever been a part of. Probably.
Really?
Yes.
God.
Not for me.
We're giving a platform. We're giving a platform to these guys.
Yeah, true.
And when I get 1 million subscribers, you'll be like I'll be the Mr. Beast, and you'll be like the little assistants that I throw into a blender and see
Mr. Beast.
Yeah. That's my dream.
You're gonna start your own restaurant, Trent Fox's Meat, or something.
Trent Fox's Meat. Yikes!
Jesus, that sounds terrible.
I know, this sounds terrible. This is not gonna.
That's some British restaurant.
That just sounds like a lawsuit incoming.
There he is, little square boy.
Meat Palace. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm an oh no.
Oh no.
It bounces too.
Yeah. There you go.
I should probably get a PNG. I can do that. But whatever. I'm a box.
You're a box. There you go. Hold on. I'll put you as a.
I'm like a
Scuff King.
Metal Gear Solid, opening thing. It's I'm going to advise you on staying warm in the cold.
Hold on. There we go. My little parrot.
It's make sure, Snake, that you keep your hand warm in the cold.
There we go. You're my parrot now. You're sitting on my shoulder. Paka.
Agree.
JPEG-tuber.
So, if you want to talk about edgy characters, by the way, it's kind of funny you said you're not a writer. I disagree.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, let's debate this. I'm not a writer. To be
yes,
fair.
you are.
Yeah. I'm a closeted writer. That's how I see myself.
just because you don't publish doesn't mean you're not a writer.
Yeah.
Because that's
You're an edgy writer.
My
that's a
yeah.
misconception I think about like writers like
I knew,
because like script writing is different from being a novelist, different from being a screenwriter, different. You know, you're still writing.
Yep.
The world is not yet ready for my writing. You're an edgy writer.
Yep.
Oh my gosh!
The world is not. No, they were ready. My
Calm down.
my
Calm
Beastars
down.
fanfic.
Oh, no.
Yeah, my Beastars fanfic was praised for being a very accurate to the characters. If I captured anything, is the personalities and the dialogue of the characters, because I really focused on that.
The Trinity fighting off the angels. Here I am,
Here I.
standing here.
Where the Trinity isn't like the Holy Trinity?
Maybe, but then we would fuse into one being.
You
Like,
were
yeah.
just like me, trying to make history. Punching all the angels, all demons at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's
Practice.
does
Oh, yeah,
does God appear? Is there a God?
I
there-
agree with that comment of like, to be fair, anyone can be a writer. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just about being a good writer or a bad writer is determined on the medium.
Funny
Yeah,
enough,
absolutely.
I find that the worst writers are the ones who claim to be writers the most.
Oh, that's true.
Well,
was-
yeah, it's kind of what was that? Tywin said like if
Yeah.
if you have to claim it all the time, then you're not a very good king or whatever.
He,
You know, it's like a-
he has to say,
yeah.
"I am king" is no true king.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, kind of how like I know it's kind of hot topic, but like also like sorry to interrupt, but like
Yeah, go ahead.
like Chris Tuckman says like I'm a filmmaker. I know what's going on. It's like you say it all the time, dude.
Yeah.
Like calm down.
You know what it reminds me of?
making films.
It reminds me
Yeah.
of Looney Tunes when Daffy Duck gets a business card and it says Daffy Duck Wizard.
Like wizard. Yeah.
I love that
mean-
one. And then his girlfriend goes like, "How's the wizarding business going?" He's like, "Great."
He's like, it's great.
Such a good joke. I love it.
Oh man, when you're talking about like comedy, when it comes from the when it comes into seriousness,
Yeah.
there's a couple of things I think of, but like I know it's kind of a no-no thing when it comes from like the I think people are just tired of the MCU formula when it comes to that, and that's why they have this like it sort of poisons the rest of it, which is not true. If you actually watch the Avengers, the first one, it has a lot of good moments along with the funny ones where they trade back and forth between that. That's just Joss Whedon doing his sort of like his writing from Buffy,
Yeah.
but he has that sort of same style where serious things can really hit home, and then like and then have a silly moment afterwards.
Yeah.
But yet like people forget context around those things.
I think people usually mean like later Marvel, not Avengers.
Of course,
Yeah,
of course, but the normies don't see it that way sometimes. Where it's like, this is just like that other thing.
Yeah.
It's like, no, don't compare them.
We were
please.
talking about it, and that's a comment that's been mentioned before, is the idea that the audience of Marvel movies is now trained to like, they don't even know what they're laughing at. They just know that the editing itself is like telling you to laugh. So you know
Yeah.
when it had in the Thor Love and Thunder, where she was like, "I have cancer," and then some people actually laughed at that because they
Oh
were
yeah,
like,
yeah.
they were so trained to like, oh, this is the timing. Like he says something and she replies with like a instant response, and they're like, oh, we were trained that this is the funny thing. We laugh. So, and then you like think about it, like, wow, there's no engagement from the audience. They're not engaged with the movie anymore. They're just waiting for the beats. Like you can go like, go on.
It's oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt at all, but like the whole thing of that's why I don't like trailers, because like they have periods where like they train you to laugh,
Yeah.
where it's like and then they fade to black, and it's like, wow, like I just don't like that idea. That's why I don't like commercials either. It's
Yeah.
like they train you to accept product, and I feel like you don't want you don't want to feel like you're being manipulated, like you have the strings on you whenever you watch something.
This summer.
It's like you just don't want to see, like, it's kind of like you don't want to see the wizard behind the
yeah.
but behind the curtain.
Yeah.
It's like as a rule, it's like you want to unless that's part of the joke. There's always exceptions. Yeah.
This summer, Brie Larson is Charlie Morningstar. She's going up. Jack Black as Alistair. Chris Pratt as Lucifer. It's just like, what you call it? Fucking Will Smith as Husk. Just like all the Hazbin Hotel with like actors and like the narrator of the trailers just keep telling you. And
smack. He gets smacked, and suddenly he shows him smacking Chris Rock. He's like, he belongs here.
he belongs in hell.
Yeah.
I love the trailer. The trailer lines as well. It's like, what am I doing here in hell? Womp womp. It's just like music.
What am I doing here in hell, man? What you do? It's like
I need to be redeemed.
And then like Adam Sandler shows up from Little Nicky because it's a crossover.
Oh yeah, of course.
Gosh, there he is.
Yeah. We got cameo. We have a cameo. We need to put it in.
Yeah.
Of course, because of course we do. Why wouldn't we?
And the Muppets.
It's like, yeah. I think a lot of it, the immaturity of writing comes in also with like them treating the art of storytelling as like a summer camp. They're like, oh, we're just gonna hang out. 10 of us writers just gonna chill out, drink coffee, and talk about cool, funny things.
Yeah,
and then,
that's also true. Yeah, but that can work out because like it depends on. When it comes down to it, though, you can do that, but it all depends on the discipline of the writers. Like when it gets right down to it. Yeah. But yeah, they just sort of have this like. I've heard of the attitude of like because like early Pixar had that sort of vibe, where they just hung out on that stuff. But when it came to diligence and writing, like they really knuckled down, and because like John Lasseter, he spent like 2 weeks at the studio like day and night, like he got little sleep. Because they had to rush out A Bug's Life and Toy Story 2 afterwards. It's like, there's a bunch of those like stories, but still, like if you actually look at their offices and all that stuff, they would bike ride in there. They would like play games, like random games.
It's cuddle time. Yeah. Let's go, kids.
Yeah,
let's go, writers.
That because they all knew each other, like
milk and cookies.
Like, but then you have like the writer's room and like the She-Hulk thing. It's like, what are they even talking about in there?
I like yeah, go
like
on.
Do they even, because they have no ideas, because like in Multiverse of Madness is like they show up on set and they're like, okay, I better write the next thing. It's like, you don't have it planned yet? They're in the middle of production. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. We did it yesterday. Why where is it? It's like, where's the script? We needed
it 2 weeks ago. It's like
It's like, hold on, I'm just making the final touches, the finishing touches, and they look at the piece of paper and just has the word "there" written on it in nice font, just like the SpongeBob meme. It's like, I haven't done anything. I just wrote the word "there." Or like She-Hulk interior, She-Hulk's house.
Yeah,
that's it. She-Hulk wakes up. That's it. There's nothing.
He just wakes up, and it's like, wouldn't it be funny if this happened? Like, yeah, I think the best example is actually like I watched a Plankett review of Ghostbusters 2016.
Yeah,
and they're having like a gay old time.
Oh my god!
They're like, well, I'm using the Flintstones additive.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no,
sorry.
Don't worry, I can recognize it.
Yeah, so it's like they're like. But I'm tired of repeating myself. But like they're just joyfully going along. Like they had a bunch of ab lib, and that's terrible for script writing. Like in a again, not always bad. Not always bad.
I know what you mean.
It's all about the discipline of the writer and what and directors to see what should you leave in and leave out. Because like there are some things in the original Ghostbusters that was ab lib but kept in because it actually. It was Bill Murray.
Yeah. And Bill Murray took time to figure out his character maybe even more than the writer or the director, so that he can allow himself, because a good actor would also like spend time thinking more about his character than any other person, because he's now only focused to be that character, whereas opposed to the director has to worry about 100 other things, so he doesn't have time to give each character that much of depth. So that's why a good actor is so good at ad-libbing or like making things up on the spot or improving, you know. Certain things are just much better, but because the actor has to be a creator himself, he has to be a writer. The way he
By the way,
speaks. Yeah. Go on.
we have a question, K-Star, C-Star.
Okay. Let's go.
Yeah.
How different is it to write a script from a novel? And how does one write a script?
I've done both, so I wrote the script first. A script is easier. I definitely love script writing.
Yes, it is. A script is way easier.
I don't have to worry about anything except like location and dialogue and action, and then the director's job is to like find a way to shoot it, find a way to represent that. It's nice and easy. I like it.
When it comes to script writing, it doesn't necessarily go by any sort of rules, because every writing rule you ever heard, you can probably discard it at some point.
Yeah.
But of course, it depends on what the of what you're doing, because the rules were set there in order to guide you, and then once you're out of those lessons, you can kind of take the training wheels off and experiment. It's sort of like but when it comes to writing scripts, though, it's like you can start from anywhere. Like, it doesn't matter. You can have like a nonsense script, but it still make sense, because not all scripts are essays, or an essay-like format. You can make just a funny video with a script. There's a lot more experimentation when it comes to that. But when it comes to like writing a novel, you have to worry about, like I said, low location, characters, differentiating your characters, and also like when it comes to writing stuff like that, you also need like a design document, like for like a video game, or it's kind of like you need your world, like
you say
the
that
lore,
yeah,
and stuff like that, and character.
You say those things, but what I've had with the novels is that the actual novel itself is the crafted piece of art. So the words you use, when you use them, and how you use them is going to be much more significant than anything else. Like the storytelling is great. Having a good story is strong, but what differentiates writers in that case is that how they're going to use the knowledge of wordsmithing, the words of like writing the right sentence. As I said, Lovecraft is great at that. There's many writers who are great at that, just finding the right word that just inspires like imagination. You know, the unimaginable shape is always going to bother me. I'm still trying to figure out what it looks like. It can be a squiggle, because a squiggle is comprised of many shapes, but unimaginable. It's like, how do you imagine nothingness? Yeah. It's Lovecraft's way of creating an other world, like things that would make you go mad. Like things you cannot even fathom in your human brain, because you're so connected to basically the real world that anything otherworldly is just like beyond your perception. It's like, how do you put that on a piece of paper? How do you write that? And it's picking the right word.
Of course, like it depends on the novel you're writing. Oh, it's sort of like it's the same thing for scripts, but it's just scripts are easier in that aspect.
Yes.
You don't have to worry about conveying to convey points only through the page is quite harder than it is doing for a script for like a video, because the video will do the visuals for you. Whereas like on a page, like you have to describe that. You have to be a narrator. Which is
funny you mentioned this. You're funny because it's such it's not a complicated thing in terms of, when I say not a complicated thing, you don't have to worry about building the world or anything like that. You just need to write the dialogue well. That's the main thing, and make sure the story progresses. And in that sense, you should be able to write good dialogue, because that's what you're focusing on. I cannot justify writers writing bad dialogue in a script that only needs a quote. Like, the director will focus on the visuals, the cinematographer will focus on the visuals. All your job is to make sure that the story flows and the characters are saying the things that is interesting and creative. That's your job. And if you can't do that, then why are you even a writer? You know, if you can't even just like, you're not writing cliff notes here. You're just writing. You have to make it nice dialogue, suitable for the characters, and the director will have to do the performances.
That's really hard.
He'll focus on the performances, and the actor will read the dialogue and will get a completely different interpretation. So you have no control over that. You're gonna have to leave that to the pros in that world. But as a writer, your job is to make sure that the dialogue makes sense and the story is consistent. You know, even the editing, like even the pacing or the editing is not your job. Your job is just again consistency and a little bit of creative dialogue, just to make sure. Well, consistency is really number one in that one. Coherency as well. Like,
it's kind of funny you say webcomic there. Kestar. Sorry, I can't. I'm terrible with names. I'm sorry, but like
A-star, C-star, I think maybe.
Yeah, he's talking about like the whole thing about like running webcomic. It's like you definitely need to design. Sort of. It really does help me because like I have my world, and I have the gods who created the world, and what each of them represent, and then I have the nations, the towns of my main setting, and what that setting is like. And then I go down to the characters that I'm going to use. What are they like? What separates them in personality, in character traits, physically? You know, like what can they do differently to each other character? What's their arc, if there even is an arc? Because not all characters go through an arc necessarily. You can be static but still good. But, you know, it's all these aspects going down. But still, think of it like the design document as like a time machine you can go back to, and you can look at, because the guy who thought of that first, he's back in time, and you need to go revisit him. It's like, you know, just to make sure you don't get lost.
Yay. Where are we? Hold up. I'm just reading any of the chats.
Did we do the which is
more
harder, building character, building system? Did we do that?
Where is it?
Dr. Top.
Dr. Top.
Which is harder, building character or building system of the world?
Oh,
Depends
on the writer, I think.
It's building the world. Everyone likes the idea of world building, but then they get too hung up on it. They're like, yes. This at the age of 2079, the emperor was this guy and this guy. I'm like, okay, great, but what does the story do? Like, where are we in the story? Well, let me tell you about the conflict between the Wimbos and the Jimbos. I'm like, no, but who are we? What are we in this world? Well, let me tell you about the 100-year war that happened between. I'm just like, no, calm down. Bring the character.
There's over complexity.
Kind
There's over complexity, but there's also like if you have this complex thing in mind, write it down in a so-so manner, and then when you come to that part, it has to be. I think the one time I used it, it's like I had this old man who knows the brief things about history, talking to the character new to the world, and talk about like, well, the Great War happened, and this is the reason, but we're at peace now because there's a ceasefire, and I'm like, all that's done in like 3 word bubbles, because it's just as simple as can be, because this is a normal citizen getting their 2 cents out. It's like you don't need the over complex thing. It's like I know you drafted this lore, but guess what? The characters in your story don't care about your lore, because the reader may not care about your lore.
The reader is the more important thing.
If you really want to, like, your story to be like really like delve into the world building, then make it so that it's important to the character. Maybe he's like a researcher, researching the world, and then you can delve into the world building as much as you want, basically.
And how you deal it out is your choice, because there are some people who do complex world building aspects, like Tolkien, for example. He dives way too deep, but it's also for a good. I believe for a good reason. I haven't read it. Sorry, I haven't read the Silmarillion. But I have read some of it where it's like, this is really abstract stuff sometimes. Where it's a spider made of dark, It's like how do you visualize that?
Well, that's
like,
again
yeah.
Lovecraft is this idea of like an otherworldly creature. You're like, how do I fathom this? It's like, well, that's
Sorry,
your job.
I'm-
Yeah, no, go on.
Oh no, it's like people may try to focus on world building, but it's definitely something you want to put on paper at least, like or at least your own brief history of it, so you don't get lost about your world history. So just in case, if you want it to come up in the story naturally, you have a reference.
Yeah.
And what you point the reference to through the characters.
Yeah, it's definitely important so that it's not expository, that it comes naturally through the characters. The characters explore the world.
Of course, you can have it that way. Yeah, because like, what if there's a god who's like, I'm going to tell you everything because I was there. It's like, it's like that's bound to happen sometime. But like,
sometimes it depends on how much. You shouldn't do it too much, I don't think.
I don't think you should do it at all. Get out of here, Deus Ex Machina. Get out of here. Shoot.
Well, sometimes you can have it like in a fairy tale kind of like feel intro, like in the beginning a little bit.
Yeah, like Hazbin Hotel.
Yeah, basically.
Well,
you should be careful with that.
Yeah, a narrator is quite useful. Like, for example, at the beginning of Fellowship of the Ring, she tells everything that happened. Like,
I love the biggest fan of that personally, but
I am. Like, it's really good because she was there. She's going to tell it to you because she's telling a story. Like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we need to know the significance of the ring in Lord of the Rings. So.
Yep.
We can't do anything else. We can't do any of the other stories without acknowledging it. But again, you could have a little bit, but it would be difficult. This is just gets you right into it. What I wouldn't want to do, and that's my critique on Lord of the Rings, the movie, is the narrator for the Hobbiton. I think if that narrator was not there, we would have gotten pretty much a good idea of what the hobbits are like by just watching them live, almost like a documentary film. That's personal choice. It's not necessarily going to be
I
good
like
or bad.
it as is because he's writing directly from the Hobbit book, which does connect to the world itself.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what, I like it that way.
I like that one. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the beginning part of the expository, but that one I do like.
The little
the
hobbits are
reason
simple
why
people. They like drinking, and then we see them drinking. You're like, okay, but if the narrator wasn't there, you would have got that idea out of the hobbits. You wouldn't have a misinterpretation of what they do on their spare time. That's what I'm saying. Like, but they needed to put that because that's a book thing, and we want to create a whimsical idea. That's why we have the narrator. That this is a story being told. But
I will concede though that like I think the beginning needed it more because these are really hard concepts to get around to a sort of a normal audience. So you need to draw them in with a narrator.
Have you seen Blade Runner by any chance?
No.
Okay.
No, I haven't seen Blade Runner.
There's two.
Sorry, not yet.
There's two versions of Blade Runner. One is the theatrical versions where you have the narrator talking, like Deckard, the main character. He's like describing what's happening, and then the director's cut doesn't have the narrator, and the director's cut is so much better than the theatrical because it tells you.
It doesn't always. What depends on the movie.
It's like the atmosphere. It captures.
Sometimes
the atmosphere.
it works. Sometimes it doesn't.
Because what you're doing is you're making a decision. Do you want the viewer to experience the story, or do you want the viewer to be told the story? Like, is there something really specific you want to tell the viewer at that point, or do you want them to like feel like they're in the world and just taking the visuals in? Because the visuals will tell you the story, but that's up to you to decide what you want out of it. And Blade Runner does that very well. Like, they just let you experience the world, whereas the theatrical version is like the producer saying, "Nah, people are not smart enough. They're not going to do that. We need to like guide them through because they're not going to figure this out." I'm like, oh man.
I don't think Fellowship is treating you like a child in any way.
Well, it has. It's sort of doing it because it's giving you the fairy tale nature. Like, this is almost like a story that you can tell, like a bedtime story. Like, oh, there's the Hobbit, the little Hobbit that could, It's already
it does
whimsical.
start off like a fairy tale story. Yeah,
it's a whimsical. It doesn't start off. the war scene of and cutting off the finger and all that. death there. It might not be the best storybook start, but if you ignore that part.
Well, no, it's like a traditional German.
Oh yeah. The boy who liked to suck his thumb. Yeah. Then he had no thumbs. Good night.
It's kinda funny,
It's
you-
more lighthearted.
There's an interesting question. How does one include a narrator in the story in a major or minor, minor part of the story? Yeah, that's an interesting question.
There's a lot of documentaries that don't have a narrator, and I like those. Watching those, just like if you almost watch them like archival footage, just like silently watching, like a sort of voyeuristic.
Maybe that's a way to build like a story that centers around world building from like a kind of documentary kind of viewpoint, maybe.
Like, 300 has a narrator. That's quite an interesting thing. It does create this epic, like, sort of atmosphere when you just look at it. but the problem is, like, yeah, I'm starting to come around to like a
Documentary about a fake fantasy world. I'd watch that.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I like. Well, it's kind of like. I'm sorry to plug, but there's the Lord of the Rings EFAP when it's talk about. I would love to see like Wood and Attenborough like talk about hobbits. You know, it's like here is a hobbit chopping wood. It's like.
And here's the hobbit mating ritual. The male
Like-
is slowly approaching. He's rather shy, and the female acknowledges him. It's just like you just watch the scene of the, like, what's the character? The little, is it Pippin who's like fancy the girl, the chubby girl?
No. That's Sam.
Oh,
Like,
is it Sam?
Sam is like.
Oh, yeah.
He's like Sam
Yeah.
is like I want to talk to that woman, and he's like.
Yeah.
And then Frodo is like, "Don't worry, Sam. Like, she knows an idiot when she sees one." And then Sam is like, he's so unconfident with himself. He's like, "Does she?" It's like he's referring to himself. It's like, but like, and then after Return of the King, he's like Chad Sam. He's like, "I'm gonna marry that woman." It's like,
About name. What? I'm looking at Dr. Top's comment.
He wants us to present question, please. How to present two systems of power
In a novel and make it easy in the novel for the reader. So you mean like two armies, two nations? That's easy.
One day,
what do you mean
the
by
Fire
systems
Nation
of power?
attacks.
The Fire Nation and the Earth,
Attack.
the Wind Nation.
Like
Kingdom.
magical systems, or
Or-
do you mean like yeah, like they're saying, like political systems?
It could be many systems. They have to be different.
It
Heaven
sounds
and
like
hell
a,
is
Yeah,
your two
I was
different
thinking of
systems.
magical systems at first, but maybe it does mean political.
If it's magical, then you have to go down to religion. It's like, which one is going to be the superior one?
Like a
it's kinda
game
funny, like-
system?
Ah, interesting.
yeah.
It might be a
like-
sci-fi thing where it's like when they're all connected to two different networks. Is that what it is? What do you,
I don't know. Like
Dr.
like two
Top,
game
tell
systems.
us. Tell us. We will help.
Like I'm thinking God of War, where it's like you have these like Kratos, a Greek god, versus the Norse gods. It's like they both have their magical powers, and it's it's integrated into the story.
Okay, systemless, yeah.
Okay, you have the name. Now, what is it about?
Systemless.
Now, what is it about?
Is that like Maidenless but with game consoles? Like,
We're doing a
Sorry.
pitch exercise here.
couldn't help.
Time for you to pitch
Although
your.
apparently it has two systems of power and it's called systemless.
Yeah, so neither of them are good. That's the
So
idea.
something's not right there.
I don't know what's going on.
One on the
Oh, we'll be human. Oh, okay.
Okay, so why is it called systemless?
It's they were.
Is he
now,
rejecting both? Is
Yeah.
the main character rejecting both systems?
I'm getting
reject
vibes of
maybe,
super,
okay, maybe.
I
I'm
reject
getting
your
vibes of
reality.
supernatural here.
I,
Yeah.
re- I reject your reality and substitute my own.
My
I am
own.
systemless. That's pretty cool.
What will you?
As a first novel
pacing,
concept.
writing on paper. Too few pages.
How do I measure
Do
pacing?
everything
writing,
in one
paper?
chapter. Oh, like as long as you make it natural, no one should care that you don't have every detail in place.
Each chapter, well, the way I would
Yeah.
argue is that each chapter is a mini story of its own. Like,
Yeah, of course. Like, if like I'm definitely the slow burn guy. Like, I don't mind waiting, but like you do have to, but don't drip feed information either. Like, always make a sort of a concept to like to a bigger world, because there is a world out there that's bigger than what your characters are. It lives, it breathes. Like, you can't just ignore it. But like, but you definitely want to like not show everything off at once, because that means like you have nothing more. It's the Batwoman version of doing things, where basically like every episode is a life and death situation for like for each character. It's like, yeah, but the pacing is really off when every episode feels like a finale.
yeah.
Like,
It's like a roller coaster. You want to do the build up first. You want to slowly ride up, and then you have the little dive, and then you have the loop de loop.
But
it's a flow.
the thing about the roller coaster is that you can see the top.
Yeah. The top is leading you there. You're like, oh, here it comes. It's like a war is brewing in Skyrim. Ooh, it's not there yet.
Like,
it's you can see the soldiers like packing things up. I'm like, ooh, what am I gonna do?
My favorite is Yu Yu Hakusho. Like, there's an afterlife, and there's like the spirit world. It's like, what's the spirit world like? Well, we get glimpses, but we don't see the entire thing, and then we get told about it later on, like through pieces, and then we get once you feel the full weight of what it really means, it becomes like this a big shock to our main cast, except for the ones that used to live there. Like, but
it's the one who calls this. Dr. Top, you need to. My writing advice would be, don't worry about the name yet. I feel like you're putting too much emphasis on that name, and I don't know why. He's gonna be named Systemless. I'm like, great, but why? That's not an interesting part for me. But the interesting part for me is, why is he named Systemless? Is he rejecting the?
Yeah, he's rejecting the devil power that's controlling.
Okay, why is he rejecting it?
I don't know what's going on, so I'm just gonna.
Yeah, we're reading the comment Dr.
I mean, from what I understand, so there's two power systems: devil power and human willpower. Devil power is the dominating power system, it seems, and it's called systemless because it's resisting the system of the devil power, I assume.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Like, it's kind of funny. Like, I think everybody has this sort of notion when it comes to first writing, is that they want a hero with a dark side, and it's not wrong to do that. But man, like, I need to get out of that habit of doing that. It's like, but still, my main character now that I'm writing does have that thing where it's like,
just embrace it.
Had no, like she had her memories erased for that very reason.
I have amnesia.
Well, no, she doesn't have amnesia. It was that part of her life was wiped out. So it's like, so she has her innocence, but like when she goes off on her own, like she was told not to, she's going to have experiences which will trigger that. Like, it's pretty much the Naruto thing, where it's like, you have this power inside of you that like you don't want to let loose because it would affect your behavior. But then again, that's been before Naruto as well. So
the drip feeding of plot points like through memory, like kind of flashbacky things, or like certain things unlocking in time is good, very good for pacing. It's just like, I don't want to give her the full information because that would not prevent us from
going on adventures.
Going on adventures. Like, she knows everything. She knows where to go. I'm like, okay, no, we need her to unlock that information. And each chapter could be a different part of unlocking. Each chapter could be a different area they explore.
It's like, like whenever that happens, it's like, what the world is going on, and stuff like that. And then you have to figure it out. Or like, it's kind of like Black Ops 1 has that sort of thing where it's like you realize that your like half your personality did things without your permission.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like Fight Club. By the way, when it comes to narrator, Fight Club also has a narrator, but it's a self-narrator for his life, so it works there. Like because he's talking to himself through himself. It's a little bit weird sometimes, but it really works for that film.
Yeah, so going back to Dr. Top, he's giving us more info. It is, I reject your reality and subjugate my own. Is that what it's called? The quote. He's rejecting the demon power in order to have a stronger power. He's not systemless. He has a system, but it's his own system. So,
it's kind of cringe, but DMC, what was it? Devil May Cry. The you know the off-brand one.
Which one? Oh yeah, that DMC. Yeah. The demo
yeah. And so he's a nympholet or whatever. I forget what they're called. They're half angel, half devil or whatever.
I hate that.
Like
part.
that's what he is. It's maybe that could be something that you could name, but like a revenant. It's like they're usually like have powers from the dead or something.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. But don't worry about the names.
Yeah.
Too much. But it is. But you definitely need I understand about having a hook for a name. Like
Trent Fox.
Sure.
Like Leland. What is he about? What is Leland about?
He's an owl with a scarf.
And then Millennium Eye, apparently.
Also, he's in front of the spears. It looks like he's in charge of the people pointing spears.
Today we're executing Trent Fox.
Finally.
Don't worry, they're not going to get me.
I'm innocent. It's not me.
Don't worry, they're not going to get me.
I'm the devil on the shoulder. Like, what you need to do is talk is to be more controversial. Like,
don't worry, Falco. I'm already controversial. The fucking Sharingan unlocks. I kill everyone. I did it again. I did it again. I didn't mean to. I have to live with this guilt for the rest of my life.
It's like you get reincarnated into another world, and you're an SS rank like magical being. Like
yeah, replace Dr. Top. Replace that word system with religion. So your character is an atheist in a world of religions. Even though if it's from a demon, it's still a religion. So it's an interesting challenge for you to now. He's against the world, and he has to change the world. He has to convince the entire world who believes in one system that the system is incorrect, and his one is the correct one. How he does that, that's the adventure.
Yeah, because not really system, it's more like rejected the system and substitute with your own, as the quote.
There's an interesting... Oh
because
my goodness.
It could be like clanless, which is like you got kicked out of the clan.
Clanless?
No, yeah, like, sorry, I was talking about Iron Hunters, Warrior Cats. You become not the clan that you were thinking of.
I mean, I'm thinking of
no,
that's
not what I'm thinking of.
Okay, good.
I'm just like, it just sounds like maidenless.
I'm just thinking of Resistance Rebellion like Star Wars.
Yeah. So he's a lone wolf kind of thing. He got kicked out of the. But again, there's a difference between rejecting one's clan and then being kicked out. Those are two different things.
Is he being kicked out? I think he's rejecting it now.
He was born out. Yeah, so he's the special one. He's the one that is.
Oh my gosh! You're a Hiei.
You're a Hiei. You're a hero.
Okay, so he believes in God. He's born without the devil system. So everybody has a devil system. He's the only one who isn't. He's a special one.
Hey.
He's my Sonic OC. Okay.
Yeah, Cold Steel deserves a shot. Everyone deserves it. But that's where everyone starts. Fucking my original characters were like that. No one understands him. He's different from everyone else. It's part of growing up.
Absolutely. Like I played. We played very loose Vampire the Masquerade, like a tabletop, and I was just Dante with like Ifrit gloves. I was like, I'm gonna punch with fire like 5 times in a row. Yeah. It's like kid gloves basically.
Once I get a million subscribers, I'll try to get someone to do like a model, a Devil May Cry 4 model, but just replace Nero with Trent Fox, and there you go. That and Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. Those are the two models I need for future reference.
I'm gonna make fan art now.
Oh no, not fan art. My only weakness.
My fan art
No one must know my true identity, even if it's a picture of me.
Yeah, the way you're describing it is causing issues. My hero, he balled without the system, and he believes in God. And the system, although, well,
But believing in God is a system. That's the problem.
also he has the system of the will.
I love
Without the system.
reviewing this OC.
I love it. Hey,
And I think you need to.
Doctor, we're
I
mocking
know.
you, but that's part of learning. You know, it's you have to
I'm not
narrow those
mocking.
things down. Yeah,
I'm not mocking. I
okay.
promise.
we need
I'm
to narrow
just-
those things down. Like he
It's
is to
just-
be either rejected by society or he's rejecting society on his own will. Those are the two things you need to ask yourself. Like, which one is it? If he's rejecting society, he has agency. If he's rejected by society, he has to deal with being rejected, and how he does that is up to him. So, usual stories, you know.
Yeah. So
Jesus was the systemless in that case. Like, if you want to go back to the Bible.
Yeah. Yeah.
he was
He was
also
born different and rejected by society.
Get there.
also well there's a bunch of people who were rejected by society, but yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna spoil right now. So it's like so when my favorite show, which I'll mention frequently, which is
Hakusho.
Yu Yu Hakusho, where
Yeah.
he gets banished from his village because only females are allowed to exist, and they're magically like they somehow get pregnant. But then like one of them is like, I'm gonna stray off, and there was a male born with the opposite nature, because they're all ice and he's fire. So they
Ooh.
drop him from the village, and like he becomes a bandit, like super edgelord stuff.
Yeah.
Like so it's like again, he's the outcast. He wants to find the village and then like kill them.
Oh my
Like,
god.
because like how dare you try to kill me just for being born? Like it's not my fault.
That's again.
Also,
but the villain. Funny enough, I like those concepts because the villain it was
But-
born out of the prejudice of the society. It's like you made him. You made the villain by
But
not
here's the
accepting
thing.
him.
he's not, when he goes back, he sees like they stopped living already. They're already dead because like they want nothing to do with the outside world. They're cold to people. Like they have no like life worth living.
Mhm.
He's like, man, these people are already dead. It's like, and so like he go visits like his mom's grave, the only person who ever cared like
Oh.
about, and then it's like he has a new mission to find his sister, and note of note, I'm going to use him in my next series because he's a side character. I turned into a main character because
That was good.
he made such a good impression
Yeah.
on like the audience, so they kept him.
If you want to know,
Yeah.
have you watched Naruto before?
Sasuke?
No.
Oh.
Have you watched? Well, no, I'm not talking about Sasuke. Talking about Itachi.
Sure.
If you know the story about Itachi.
Yeah.
He was a
Itachi,
villain.
yeah.
He was a villain, like the main villain for Sasuke. But then the fans
Mm-hmm.
liked him so much that the writer had to like retcon him into being a hero. And it's so obvious, like a retcon, but like it still works. He still managed to somehow squeak through into like, it's not perfect, but I like it.
I
It's
still
like-
don't like him as a.
You don't like Itachi? Oh, he's brilliant.
No,
He's brilliant.
Like,
My favorite character.
I.
I like them.
He's.
I'm not a big fan of Naruto in general, but I like them.
I've never really liked Sasuke after a certain point.
No, I never liked Sasuke.
no, not Sasuke.
Never liked
Itachi.
Sasuke.
We're not talking about Sasuke's
Yeah,
lame.
I
Get him
know.
out of here.
Got it,
I know who
Itachi.
Itachi is.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah.
I've lost track of Naruto because like after the pain fight, I lost interest.
Yeah, me
Because
too.
holy crap, there was like 50 episodes of filler, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you can't make me do this.
Don't worry, it gets even worse. It gets even worse.
It does get
No.
even worse.
Yeah. There's
I
like
don't
a
care
whole
about
new show.
Naruto's connection to his ostrich. I'm sorry, I just don't care.
It was worse. Imagine this, since you missed out on like the amazing part of the whatchamacallit? Leland, you probably know. Where they get all it put under a genjutsu and a new whole anime starts. It's like them
Oh
all
god.
they're all reliving the whole adventure again, but like from the perspective of like their wishes. Like they all have their own reality. that is their ultimate like dream reality. So it has no effect on the story because it's all fantasy, and it's gonna, they're gonna break out of its reality. But they just spend so much time, like every episode is a different person's like reality and adventure.
Yeah.
That is just like
Also, yes, case was going to be on the peanut.
it's so
I
much.
thought Bleach was bad for that too.
It's so bad.
Yeah, but like
Ugh.
beyond the Eisenhower, you shouldn't watch it.
That,
Oh yeah, I was in middle of the Eisen arc. It was like, oh boy, I can't wait to see what happens next, and then filler. It's like,
Yep.
oh okay, I guess I can wait. Okay, back to the Eisen stuff, and then like another filler arc. I'm like, could you stop? Like, please, like stop bait switching.
No,
Like-
the big anime shonens, like old ones, full of filler.
no, Dragon Ball Z, that doesn't have any filler. Every episode is there for a reason.
It's super fucking long and outstretched.
Even
Fuck yeah.
like
Except super
Dragon
garbage.
Ball Z's filler has world building.
Yeah.
Like it's something to it, but it's like it's kind of funny. Yu Yu Hakusho has no filler. Zero filler. 112 episodes.
Did you know that the Saiyans were a massive inspiration for the creation of Trend Fox? Another interesting trivia that you can only get from the live streams.
There's lore missing. Oh my
Oh.
gosh, I don't know.
We'll find out. You'll find out in time.
It's always kind of funny. Like people have retconned like King Kai's speech about the Saiyans,
Oh yeah.
where it's like King Kai said he had no idea who destroyed the Saiyans.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then later on, he's like, "I know who Frieza is. You stay away from him." It's like, so which one is it? Well,
Don't
now
worry.
they think, well, he lied because Goku wouldn't go after him. It's like, no, that's not.
It would
Come
get
on.
it would get even worse. It would actually get even worse because not only did King Kai know that it's not, it wasn't mysterious, but Frieza also destroyed the Saiyans, but he also destroyed the Saiyans because he was told by another stronger villain to do it. But it's like, how? Why?
That's so dumb.
Why are you connecting all these things? It's like, and then we'll
Because
find out. The Saiyans are not that
Akira
important.
Toriyama's not a good writer. Just to let you guys
No,
know.
shut up. I disagree with you. The guy literally had to think of on the spot, like names for characters just by looking at it, what's inside his fridge. He's like, I just need names, anything. Fuck milk, God, put it in. Ginyu, Frieza. Oh, we have a freezer. There you go. Done. Like,
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
I
so-
was confused for a second because I thought you were still talking about Naruto.
No. We went back.
Oh,
Yeah.
he-
But Toriyama
he-
wrote.
he-
Naruto's also food, so I was like, oh, you're talking about Naruto?
He went to the supermarket. He's like, okay, so what could be a Saiyan? I know. I'll go to the vegetable aisle. It's like,
I think this is common among like all these like long shonen writers. They're just like really fucking hungry and starved
Yeah.
all the time. So they're like, oh yeah, this character is Naruto. This guy is like Frieza.
Man.
He goes to the vegetable aisle, but he looks at the garlic and he's like, no, I'll keep that for later. I'll keep this garlic for a special occasion. And then he makes a movie about Garlic Jr. It's just like, cool.
garlic, tutti frutti, pepperoni.
Tutti frutti. But that's what I like. That's why I like Toriyama. I feel like he's just, again, much like Charlie from the Hazbin Hotel, is just improving things, and then somehow it works out. But he actually is the real life event of that. He's
Well,
not like written into the
when
world.
When you forget your own lore, but you write by the seat of your pants, I'm like, nah, you're not that good.
He forgot the
Sorry.
character even exists. He's like, what's gonna happen to Goten? And he's like, who? Who's Goten? What?
Super Saiyan 2? What's that? He's like, oh, it's like you had 5 episodes about how he transforms. Okay, sure. It's like,
Slow. Again, they work 3 hours. They write 3 hours, like, and then have 15-minute nap, and that just goes for the rest of the day. That's all they do. It's high level of commitment to that craft.
I'm sure, but I can still criticize it.
Oh yeah. Again, you can also criticize the industry for exploiting it that way. But again, I kind of like to see that sort of overexhaustion-induced madness that you get in anime. It's just like Luffy's going for the One Piece for the 1000th time. It's just like, oh my god, this poor writer. Just end it. Just let him find the One Piece. The One Piece is the adventure along the way.
he hasn't died yet.
But money.
The
Yeah.
author's still alive, Trent Fox. We need to
We gotta
milk him
have-
while he's still alive.
We gotta have money.
money.
We gotta
Which is
have
a common-
money.
Like once
Which
he's
comes from the Tom and
the
Jerry
writer,
movie,
we
by
can
the
bring another writer to finish off the story.
He's gonna be Luffy's son, Boofy, and he goes on.
Goofy.
That's normally what happens in these shows. They just have the son come in and like written by completely different people. And it's like
Who's Dr. Breeze's grandson? Trunks. Like, yay.
Trunks and Boofy are fighting together against Frieza's son,
They're,
Chili
Oh my-
Vanilli.
oh, you know, he does have a son in one of the like Dragon Ball Hero things.
Does he?
you
Oh,
know?
no.
It's like,
Is it Chiller?
he does.
Is
I
it
don't. I forget what his name is.
Chill? I've tried to think like because we have a freaking cold, we have Frieza, we
Well,
have Cooler.
I have to look it up now.
Okay, go for it. Give us the research.
And then you guess.
Okay, Snowflake. Snowflake, Snowy, Snowball, Snowball.
What? That doesn't make sense. Okay.
What? It's gonna be like Radiator, Rada.
Nope.
It's gonna be
It means chestnut.
Oh my god, great! Thank you. The fridge, the fridge aisle was out of stock. He went to the chestnut aisle.
It's Cruza
Cruiser, of course.
or
Son of
Curry,
Frieza.
which is Nekomajin Z2
Of
in
course.
2003.
When will
of
I learn?
course. And he's quite the adorable little, like. Oh my goodness! I'm having hiccups.
No,
Pardon
that's
me.
it. That's it. But-
I will send this to you. I may not be saying it right because words from another land. So.
Yeah, by the way, we had a question.
From who?
What?
Who dares?
How dare you?
Go on,
how
Well, it
dare
was
you have
quite a
questions.
long one. It was a K star, C star.
Let's see.
Should probably put this a session class from
It was very long
It's a long boy.
series of messages. Yeah.
Come on, Keystar,
No.
tell us a shorter version of that, please.
Wait a second.
How do we stop crime?
condense. How do we stop crime?
Story
Oh, man.
focused on viruses, kind of like in Mega Man Battle Network.
Ooh,
Oh my god.
I've never played.
Never played that.
I've never played Battle Network, but I've heard a lot of things about the series, and
So
I
he
think
wants
the manga goes in depth. But anyway,
he wants to incorporate the big bad being a mad NPC that kills and consumes data of viruses and other NPCs.
you see, that sounds interesting to me. Yeah.
And what was the
It's like
continuation?
Digimon Tamers. They eat data. Yummy.
I've
Oh,
thought of
Digimon
having
Tamers
news
is good.
Oh yeah.
news being spread on the corrupt NPC, but not trying to bring it in the big bad, and how to properly switch from the light-hearted affair of the story to the more serious approach of the big bad.
Reset.
There's long boy. I tried to shorten it as much as possible.
How we doing?
You know what? I'm kind of thinking about like so there's another series had that uses comedy and like what's it called, like serious situations to its advantage is Deep Space Nine. Star
Oh,
Trek.
yeah.
Really good series about that. One of them is about like how like the Pork's workers want to unionize. And so like it's like so they start like protesting the front door, but people have to use the back entrance, which is inconvenient.
Oh.
So it's like so they still let them go in. It's just that nobody's working. So it's like two of the officers are like they're taking bets on who would go in, who wouldn't. Because like and then Worf goes by and then he goes in. He's like hey, the heck, man. And so they go after him, and it's like they have a conversation about like what like, you know, but you have to picture the conversation they have because it ends up into a brawl fight.
Great. Well, as they
Because,
always
like,
do.
And there's like, what are you guys doing? It's like there's no way Worf would go in. Like and so they have a disagreement, and then they fight, and then that's the humorous side of that whole episode. It's like you're supposed to have honor and duty and all that stuff. And he's like,
What I like about Deep Space Nine is that no matter how well you try to explain it, you have to watch it.
exactly,
It's an experience
It's one of those things where it's quite humorous by the way they portray it.
That being said, it's like any sci-fi concepts. It's very difficult to shill sci-fi, is because you have to establish the world so well a little bit early on. So it's like, I have this amazing joke about the Glorfnax, but I have to explain what the Glorfnax are and their culture. I'm like, oh, that's going to be always a difficult one. And that's why Star Trek is difficult to... people who know Star Trek will be happy to talk about and like joke.
Oh, yeah, it's just that I don't know I don't know like all the context around that either. So it's like because it's been a while, but I just remember that being that humorous because like Worf is not exactly he's a character that's very honorable, like diligent, work focused. He's not really a fun guy, you know. So they're taking bets on will Worf enter the casino, and he does. And it's like, why is he going in?
I remember that scene actually. Now that you mention it,
there's supposed to be a strike. Why are you going in? It's like, and that's why they get heated. So it's like, yeah, it turns into a fight, but it's very humorous. But and then there's like people's like, man, you guys need to grow up. It's like kind of humor. It's like,
yeah, they're officers, but they're still acting like kids. You know, it's
like
interesting character development.
They're still people.
Yeah,
you know,
they're humanizing the characters. They don't have to be badass super soldiers or like they're smart, intelligent, people who are in the spaceship in the sci-fi world, and they still fall for petty arguments. That's the humor.
It's definitely like the humor also comes from wordplay and in the acting, of course. Right. Like it's not just
that's why I'd say you also experience the Star Trek. But yep. Anyway, it's 2:30 by the way. It's 2:30. I'm gonna end the stream now. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Falco and Leland, for joining in towards the end and letting me breathe a little bit. Hope you guys also enjoyed this stream, this Q&A stream. I know I have a lot of people coming in from the Has Been Hotel video. I hope I'll see more coming in. You're free to come to the Discord. There's a link in the description. You can join us and we'll chat more there.
Yeah, if you have any further questions, you can just join the Discord.
Yeah, there's a bunch of
You heard him. He's tired. No more.
Yep.
Oh, thank you.
Time to recharge my batteries.
Thank you so much. Yay. It was fun.
Yeah, we'll see you around, K-Star. Join us on the Discord. The link is there. Everything's fun.
Yeah.
We play Gartic Phone a lot. We play all kinds of fun stuff.
We're gonna be less mature in that one, just a warning.
If you want to get to know the characters in the Discord, check out Trend Unleashed. We have Champions League, an exciting live stream event where we pit characters against each other in a series of random challenges.
And we argue about it.
And we argue about it like a bunch of nerds that we are.
Like we're nerds.
I'll share you the link if I have it. Unleashed, so people can look at it. It only has 4 subscribers, so you're gonna be in the ones who know. They're in the know.
It's like Goku. It's like if no one does it, if I don't do it, who will?
Yeah, Goku has never won a Champions League. There you go. Interesting factoid.
Not yet, no.
Because he's pretty steel as a character.
Yep.
What if Goku was female? I think
that would help out a lot because Android 18 won. So
it's kind of funny if you say that because there is a channel like that does all that Dragon Ball what ifs, and he's very knowledgeable about Dragon Ball. So it actually it's an interesting group of stories.
Yeah.
So.
But anyway, I'm heading out. Have a good one. See you around next time.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.